Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 6 of the UltraNet Supercup. This is the Spearhead Platoon Monaco round. We're at the Principality. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be great fun. We had a fantastic Formula Challenge round yesterday. We had brilliant WSS races last week. What on earth is going to happen here? We only had 9 finishes in the race last year, so let that be a little guide as to what you might expect for this evening's entertainment. Sponsoring me today is the Tube Strikes. My name's James Kirk. I'm here unexpectedly. And alongside me is a man who's been sponsored by guitars. He's been sponsored by the cameramen for the Boar Collective. And he's been sponsored by a smiley face with wings. It's Lewis McGlade. How are you, good sir?
I am good. It's also nice to have a broadcast brought to you by a lead commentator who's sponsored by Tube Strikes.
Yes!
That's pleasant. But yeah, no, this is obviously, Monaco, Monte Carlo. It's one of the toughest tracks, pretty much the toughest track on the calendar that we go to. And it's going to be interesting to see who's going to get it right, because I don't think the hard part is actually the qualifying session. It's about getting it correct for the 45 laps, I believe it is, for the first race, 45, 46 laps?
Oh, yes.
For the first race, and it's getting it right for those laps consistently again and again and again. That's where it's going to get difficult. So, who is going to get it right?
I don't know, it may only be a 3.3 kilometre circuit, but as Lewis correctly points out, it is by far and away one of the most difficult tracks on the calendar. This year especially, the drivers across all 3 career ladder categories have unanimously just gone, it's far too bumpy for our own liking, blah, 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 blah. That's the challenge. It is a bumpy track, and especially with the mod this year, which is notably up on torque to last year, it's providing a new challenge. And it'll be interesting to see who, as Lewis says, can get it right. One of those people who I am looking at potentially, Lewis, is someone who is going to be looking for potentially his 3rd, and if he's lucky, maybe even 4th Super Cup win here, and that is Pavel Loknovsky. And the Estonian joins us, as he did in the WSS, on very much a one-off occasion from what I'm aware of. He's got studies, he's got work to get on with, but there's something about Monaco and Pavel which just clicks. And as I say, only 9 finishes from last year. He was the one who finished in first, and ultimately it was his only race win of the year. What sort of qualities in Pavel do you think make him that sort of driver which is able to tame Monaco so well? Because there's not many people who can do it well, and we saw in the Formula Challenge just yesterday, we saw Peter Burlak, a driver who we thought was going to completely wipe the floor with the competition in Formula Challenge for the rest of the season, genuinely struggling. It was the first time that he hadn't scored a podium in a round that he'd taken part in.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Monaco is it's not like, you look at drivers from around the world and you go, oh, he's good at this track, he's going to be good at Monaco. Monaco's a very, very specialist track. It's the one where you come to and you don't really know where people are going to be, especially, when you're in equal cars, purely based on the fact of it's such a specialist track. And that's why, you can see Pavel, who can consistently do the good lap times, and that's where this track really pays you back, is when you can consistently lap exactly the same every single lap, consistently get close to the wall without being scared of it. That's where the good lap times are. Fran Lopez just flies past Oskari Kantonen down. Oh, that's Timu spinning down at Anthony Nodes, but no, it's just about consistently getting it right. That's why the race is going to be so difficult. That's why the qualifying won't be that bad. But getting it right every single lap in the race, that's where people like Pavel do very well, and that's where I'm not sure about anyone else, because we've seen some pretty big mistakes this year from some of our leading drivers. So who's going to be able to do it? As Thomas Fadler spins out of turn 1.
Let's go on board with Florian Geyer, shall we? He topped our free practice session, and let's see how he gets on his first lap into Saint-Devoux. It's a tricky corner, and especially with that massive curb on the inside, you don't want to be taking it too tight. Otherwise, you are going to be going spinning off through Beau Rivage now into Massenet. And then through to Casinos. Oh, whoa!
Wow,
Whoa!
wow.
Already
Cool, that
an
made me
incident.
jump.
Who was that?
Brandon Warren and I didn't see who the other one was.
Well, we were going to take on a lovely hot lap in Monaco. Not anymore. Florian Gaia has lost his front wing because of that incident, and therein lies a perfect example of the dangers of Monaco. It is simply such a tight circuit that even if you try your hardest to get out of the way, sometimes it's just not going to happen. And Florian Gaia, an unfortunate victim in an incident which was nowhere near his fault.
Yeah, the thing is that's why qualifying was pretty crazy yesterday, because of the mistakes of others as opposed to the mistakes of people higher up. The thing is he'll get this back to the pits quite easily and just probably escape back once he's in the pit lane, get the tyres changed, add a new front wing, and then off he'll go. He'll be fine again. He just got to get back to the pit lane. That's all. I think he's also nursing a front left puncture, which is going to make this section pretty interesting. Getting through the swimming pool section. Yes, he definitely does have a front left puncture.
I think this has to be the most interesting hot lap we've ever covered.
Yeah. No, I think the best one was back in WSS in Germany, which wasn't actually on the broadcast, but there was a very good hot lap.
That was a great hot
in
lap.
There. Currently, Matt Richards holds your P1 time on an 18.1, which is actually a pretty damn good time.
It's a good time
for the TSA driver. He's impressed a couple of times this season. Currently has Ari Nieminen directly in front of him. I don't know how well this lap's been so far, but as he heads towards the line, he is going to not improve his time, but he is still first position. So pretty impressive for Kevin Siggy. Just jumps him on a 17.969. Kevin Siggy, someone who's been impressing pace-wise throughout the entire championship, but never can quite put it together in the race. Oskari Kantonen. Wow, that's a time.
That is a time which is deposed Siggy by 0.8 of a second. And Kantonen, who took not only his but Adonis Engineering's first pole position of the year 2 weeks ago in Spain, has been feeling a lot more confident. Our championship leader by what must be 22 points or so. He's looking pretty strong here. He's been pretty confident. Though, look who's just coming behind him. Sven de Vries, the American. I know for a fact this is a circuit which he does not like by any stretch of the imagination, but only 0.2 off his Finnish rival. Not a bad time.
I see Matt Richards has spun. I think that's just before the Grand Hotel hairpin. Yeah, it is. He's just got it spun, waited for the right time. That's something that drivers are really going to have to learn for this. Is I had a problem with it back in Formula Challenge where drivers need to learn to sit still. This is the important thing, is that when you've spun on the track, if you just sit still, do not move. Doesn't matter where you are, as long as you're not completely blocking the road, just sit still. Let everyone pass, until it's safe. Because when you're darting across the track, this track is far too narrow for that. People won't be able to avoid. So you just need to sit still, wait till it's clear. Flick spin it if you have to, but only when it's clear, because it's just the moving around where the dangers happen. Unfortunately, sometimes because of the way some of the corners are just completely blind, such as up at Massenet where we saw Florian Guy have a problem with Brandon Warren. Those ones are just completely unavoidable. But yeah, we just need to sit still sometimes, unfortunately.
Let's see who's not sitting still. Let's actually have a look at our guys who are coming in for potentially just this round, potentially other rounds. They're new here anyway. Timu Toika, who is driving for his own team, FA Racing, this round. Bit of a Monaco specialist, is Timu, actually. Very similar to his teammate for this round, who's also coming in for just this round, Pavel Oknovsky. P6 is currently Timu, and that's a really good effort, considering this is his Super Cup debut for the year. Fran Lopez, he was in the FA car in Spain, and we thought he might potentially get the seat full-time, as that was what
Florian Guy
I took it as
P3.
Florian Guy into P3. Is a great effort from the German. In hot form is Florian, and look to keep that up. But Fran Lopez now over at Positive, replacing Balas Remenyik, and that's a good time as well. Into P4 goes Lopez. So the young Spaniard, not exactly the best Monaco round in Formula Challenge, but perhaps he can salvage some points in the Super Cup for his Super Cup team. Who else have we got in for today? We've got Thomas Fadler in for PB Racing. He's P15, and his teammate Olli Pelkonen P20, and that is a major point, Lewis. One of our 4 championship protagonists, Philip Pushka, not here today. And he was very much the man with the outside chance coming into this round. And unless Canton and Muscat and De Vries have absolutely diabolical rounds today, you can't really see him recovering the amounts of points which I imagine those lot will be getting.
No. It's Philip Pushka is just in a really bad situation in his championship at the moment, which is a shame. But if he comes back, he still might be able to salvage something. There's no reason why he wouldn't be able to. I think from now on, we'll see where everyone's at. It's just, I don't know. There's no reason why he should give up on the championship yet. It's not won or lost. We've got a long way to go in this championship. We're only at round 6, so we've only done 10 races of the how many would it be? 34 this season.
Yes,
34 races. So we've only done 10 of those. So a long way to go. So there's no reason for him to give up on the championship. There's no reason why he shouldn't come back. As I see, Florian Geyer and Sven de Vries have done exactly the same time. However, Florian Geyer pips him by in our factors 1,000th, really, but
yes,
it's kind of showing up as the same split from the leader, so it's
gone
clearly
down
a very
to
small
nanoseconds,
gap.
hasn't it?
Yes, it's gone down to a very small gap. However, Florian Geyer is in P2. Obviously, he had pole position a couple of rounds ago back in China, so he's maybe looking to do it again.
We've got 6 minutes to go of our 15-minute qualifying session. Let's take you down the order at the top 10. It's Canton looking for his 2nd pole position of the year to go equal on pole positions with Philip Pushka. Florian Geyer currently occupies 2nd with Sven de Vries in 3rd and waiting pensively to complete a hot lap, I'd imagine. Either that or going to the pits. Fran Lopez doing a great job for positive in P4 with Team Toyka. Also a very good job. He's up into P5. Jason Muscat, P2 in the championships, currently P6 with Kevin Siggy P7. Emmanuel Gaxella, who actually received a 20-second time penalty in Spain for avoidable contact. We thought that might be coming for him. He's P8, but Storm is definitely back on track. Only 5 points behind Street Fighter in the battle for 5th and 6th in the teams. Tom Parker is P9 for Simcraft, and currently rounding out the top 10 is Matt Richards, who still has yet to improve on his first time set in the session. But clearly it was a good enough time to put him in a good spot.
No, but the person who I would have thought would be in the top 10, who currently isn't, has tried his luck twice so far. However, has just returned to the pit lane. Is Pavel Lotnovsky down in P27. I believe he's about to start his hot lap with 5 minutes to go in the session. So he should be able to get a good run of laps here. So we'll just have to keep an eye out where Pavel's going to go, because it's going to be somewhere towards the top. But will it be onto pole position? Will it be even into the top 10? We don't know.
Let's go on board with Pavel and hope for the best with a decent hot lap. There goes his teammate Timu Toyka heading up Beau Rivage. Hopefully we won't have 2 cars to greet us as we go through Massenet. Nope, completely clear track through Casino now. And this is the bit which most of the drivers have been complaining about. A huge bump there, which as Pavel obviously avoids going now into the hotel section, the Mirabeau Hotel, going down their hairpin. Very difficult section to maintain speed through here. Into Portier 1 and into Portier 2, and then perhaps into one of the most iconic parts of the Monaco circuit, the tunnel. Seen plenty of accidents through here in the likes of Formula 1, GP2, so on. Not too many in our Super Cup though, as we go into Nouvelle Chicane, and you can see just how close Pavel was getting to the wall there. The whole flow of street circuits, we clips the edge of the back there. Yeah, the whole flow of street circuits is dependent on you going as close to the wall as you possibly can. It's the only way you can edge out those tenths, those milliseconds, which could gain you the difference between maybe one position, maybe even more. It's been a decent lap for Pavel. I'm not sure that's going to take him into the top 5.
No, it was. He had some pretty mediocre moments on this lap, puts him into P12 at the moment. But yeah, I was just keeping an eye on that lap. He seemed, a little slidey, a little hesitant. And that's the thing, you were saying getting as close to the wall as possible is where the time is on this lap. And, you look at him through Massenet, he's not really getting too close. The Casino, he was quite a long way away from the wall. And, again, Mirabeau, quite a way away. It's just, it's getting that close to the wall consistently. That's where you'll see the race change. This is not going to be a good lap from Pavel as well. I don't think he's just not looking too good out there at the moment. Is Pavel?
It's strange because he was looking so confident in free practice P2.
Yeah, give him a few laps though. He's got. I think he'll have time to do 2 more laps after this.
He could potentially pit, couldn't he?
Yeah, he's just dropped this lap anyway. Let Matt Richards past.
Which should be noted, actually, Matt Richards has moved up into 8th, I've noticed, so he has improved on his time.
Indeed, past Emmanuel Gagzella and Tom Parker.
Let's see, I'm wondering, is there anyone who hasn't set a qualifying lap?
Who's
Dan
in
Russo.
P10? Tom Parker was apparently on a good lap, or is on a good lap, rather. I don't know how much it is a good lap, but apparently it's a good one.
I wonder whether he's being held up. He might have been held up by Sven de Vries. Oh, no, he hasn't been held up by Sven de Vries. Let's have a look here. I would think being behind...
Oh!
Well.
Also, Fran Lopez is also another one apparently on a good lap. That's a real shame from Tom Parker to have dropped it. So close to the end of the lap, but that's where it gets very tricky. Back with Fran Lopez, again, very close to the wall on the inside of the Nivelle chicane. It's a lot easier to do that than it looks, as I think Sven de Vries improved up into P2.
He did.
Good job from him. Currently a 10th and a half off of pole sitter at the moment. Oscari Canton, see where Fran Lopez goes. Ooh, that's a bit of traffic.
That's Patrick
that's a lot of time lost.
That's a lot of time lost through Rascasse, isn't it? Fun fact, my dad has been to Rascasse.
Yeah?
Yeah.
My dad hasn't.
Ah.
Jason Muscat on pole time. We'll move on from this conversation.
Oh, so I was going to suggest we could go to Rascasse one day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have enough money. But
Later.
Tom Parker is also apparently improving. See where Jason Muscat goes. If he does improve in his own time, he does move up into 5th position. Tom Parker down at the tunnel, improved in the first sector. Not really sure where he's going to go on this lap. Quite a long way away from the end he is. Timu Toika spins down in the swimming pool section. He's going to get in the way of Sven de Vries. He just escapes back to garage.
As Dawe Tapper moves up into 8th.
Pavel Loknovsky moves back up into 12th. Who was that?
That was Menno Klont. Good lap from Menno into P6.
Shout out to Menno. He's been impressing me so far quite a lot this year. Has been Menno Klont.
Well,
this lap looks a lot better from Pavel so far.
Should we keep an eye on Pavel then? Let's see.
I'm gonna keep an eye on Pavel. Where's Tom Parker? Oh, he's actually Tom Parker's just running towards the line. I don't know what kind of lap this is at the moment. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So perhaps let's have a look to Pavel then. Because if there is anyone who is going to challenge for pole position, it would be everyone's favourite Estonian. That is Emmanuel Gagzella up into 4th. Good effort from the Romanian there. But that is his job done. Qualifying is over. The checkered flag is out. Whatever lap you're on now will be your last. And no doubt Pavel Loknovsky, who has won twice here before, will be looking to take a good position. He needs to really, because that is the danger zone where he is at the moment, P13. He wants to ideally be looking at the top 6. He comes around Antonino's now. And he runs to the line. It's been looking like a pretty good lap. And so 17, 7, 7, 8 into P6 he goes. But we have a possible challenge for pole position again here from Sven de Vries, the American, looking for his second pole position of the year, his last time on pole, Malaysia.
I think he ran out of fuel. I think he started running out of fuel or something. He started chugging towards the line, so that's not too good.
And I don't
but it means...
Yeah.
It means 2 out of 2 for Oscari Canton over the last 2 rounds, so good job.
It's a good day for Oscari Canton, isn't it? And actually, I think we should also go over the penalties which we missed from last round because there was nothing confirmed. So we were talking about a lot of background stuff last time out, and basically it's to do with RF scan. If you don't know, it's basically an anti-cheating thing, blah, 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 blah. Penalties were given out, and Sven de Vries, one of the championship leader at the time, was given penalties in China. And what that means is not only did Sven de Vries lose a bucket of points, which means that he is now where he is in P3 in the championship, but also, Lewis, it means that we don't have a single round now where there's been a different winner in race 1 and 2, because Jason Muscat, by default, won race 1 in China as well. So, I'm wondering whether Oscari Canton, I mean, if there's any round where we're going to have 2 different winners, it's going to be Monaco. But can Canton make it 4 in a row? Be quite a feat.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen 4 in a row this season. Obviously, with the winners so far this season is Oskari Kantonen, Sven de Vries, Philip Pushka, and Jason Muscat, who have all doubled up, taking the 2 wins in a round. The only person to do that twice is Oskari Kantonen, who did it in Australia and in Spain. But you say whether you can. Yeah, any track on the calendar, this is the one where we're going to expect 2 different winners because of the layout of the track. But this track is not impossible to overtake on. This was visualised yesterday as everyone started flying past me in race 1. But, obviously Formula Challenge, the cars are a lot smaller. These cars are quite a lot larger. And the cars that are out tomorrow, the Super League, are even bigger than that. So, overtaking gets progressively more difficult, but it's certainly not impossible. At this track, you've got a long race. It's about keeping a cool head. Any track on the calendar, this is the one you need the coolest head. You don't need to let anything get to you. It's just sit down, think. If there's a car in front of you, how do you get past? Don't make any, bold moves. Just, comfortably take it around the lap and wait for the right opportunity, because that's exactly what you need to do on a lap of Monaco. And that's where quite a lot of people start making mistakes, and why we had 9 finishes last year, because people sometimes just think a bit too hot-headedly.
And it's interesting to note that among those retirements were the 2 championship contenders by the end of the year, Oscar Hardwick and Giuseppe Ranieri. In fact, it was the only time in a streak of it must have been 11 races or something, 12 races, where Giuseppe wasn't on the podium. Because he got a podium in Spain, and this was the only race after Spain where he didn't get a podium or a win. Because of a retirement.
Yeah, I believe so. He's last year was a very interesting one between the 2 of Oscar Hardwick and Giuseppe Ranieri. And I was actually I was thinking this earlier. This is the one track where setup makes it feels like it makes less of a difference, because it's more about what the driver does here.
Yes.
And last season, especially towards the end of last season, we're having someone like Oscar Hardwick, who was appearing 20, 30 minutes before the free practice session, doing 50 laps, whatever, and then just doing qualifying. That was the way it worked, and this is the one track on the calendar where you cannot do that. You have to put in a decent amount of laps to go well here, because that's just what needs to happen. Unless you've got a monster setup, it's only practice of this track that can make you go faster. That's what I was telling a couple of friends earlier. Just do laps. That's all you got to do, is just sit down and do laps, and that's the only way you'll get faster with this track. So. It's clear to see that there's some people, such as I think Fran Lopez probably has done quite a good few laps of this, obviously qualifying in that 5th position. It's quite clear who's done who does a lot of laps of this track.
Right, perhaps we should go quickly through the standings, as we have just under 2 minutes to go. So the drivers, led by Oskari Kantonen, the Finn on 181 points. His teammate, Jason Muscat, is now in 2nd on 159, with American Sven de Vries in 3rd, 2 points behind him. Philip Pushka, not here today, in 4th on 133, with Tom Parker, who is here today. Good load of points back on 97. Then we have Menno Klons. He had a great qualifying. What can he do at those dizzy heights? He's got 90 points. He's followed by in form Florian Geyer on 72. Then the resurgent Emmanuel Gagzella. Can he keep his aggression contained this time on 61? Alex Cooper, he's quit the series now. We don't need to worry about him, but he's on 61 anyway. And Dawi Tapper, after his amazing comeback drive in Spain after what has been a terrible start to the season, he is P10 on 56 points. In the team standings, Adonis Engineering running away with it on 340 points already. Just to give you an idea of how big their lead is, Satellite Racing, who are in 2nd, are on 165 points. It's almost a 200-point lead. Some may say at this early stage, unclosable. Simcraft, bad start to the year, coming back now. They are 3rd on 157 with PB. Behind them, only by 3 points, but without Pushka, I fear they may fall a bit down the order. Street Fighter Racing Systems is behind PB by about 40 points on 115. As I say, Storm, they're resurgent, and they're only 5 points behind SRS on 110. FA, strong start to the season. They're starting to fall back now, especially with the loss of Philip Cullen and Tom Parker. They're only on 103 with Multiforce. As I say, bit of a mixed start to the season for them. They're on 93. And then a ways back are Positive and TSA 9th and 10th, both on 49 points. Lewis McGlade, who is your prediction for the race win?
Race win. I can't pass Ascari
Non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Oh yeah, I will say Ascari Kantonen for the race win. I think he'll get a good start and we'll hold that lead. And we know from this track it's not the easiest to overtake. I say not impossible, but I think Ascari will be taking the first win of the evening.
Well, you know what? In Formula Challenge yesterday, Scott Beresford won from P3 on the grid. I'll also note that David Yunt in the reverse grid in WSS won from something like P5. And so I'm going to go on a punt, and I'm going to say Mr. Gaia.
Mr. Gaia? It would be good to see Florian take the win, but no, I don't. I think Kantonen. I don't think Kantonen will let anything really get to him, and that's what you need to do on this track: is to not let anything get to you and just, focus on doing your laps.
It's Kantonen on pole position for Adonis Engineering, followed by Sven the Reese for Satellite Racing. Florian Guys P3 for Simcraft, with Emmanuel Gagzella P4 for Storm. Fran Lopez, great qualifying from him. He fills in for Balas Reminick for Positive Sim Racing in P5. Pavel Loknovsky back up near the front for FA in his one-off return, with Jason Muscat behind him in P7, currently P2 in the championship for Adonis. Menno Klont, P8 for Malta Force, with Timu Toika driving for his own team. I think it's a one-off again for FA Racing. And Kevin Siggy rounds out the top 10 for Positive. We then have Dawe Tapper after a great round in Spain. What can he do here in Monaco for Street Fighter? He's followed by Matt Richards for TSA and Tom Parker for Simcraft. Santiago Niza for Street Fighter and Adrian McNaughton in his usual starting spot of P15. We then have the two Mazuriks of Mike Bell in P16 out qualifying Ari Niemanen, which is quite unique.
Quite
actually.
impressive.
I think, yeah, Niemanen's usually out qualified Mike, so a good effort from the Englishman there. Then have Thomas Fadler, first of the PB fill-ins, P18 with Bart the Boss P19 for Waters, and Thomas Jacobs rounds out the top 20 for TSA. We then have Patrick Gatewood, P21 for Multiforce, again difficult season for him, with Martin O'Connor, P22 for Centurion. Nico Yakinen starts P23 for Scuderia Brasilia, with Olli Pelkonen, the other PB driver, filling in for this round, P24. Yuri Ogiano starts P25 for Scuderia Brasilia, with Victor Silva filling in for Steve Lloyd, P26. Brandon Warren is P27 for Satellite Racing, and the edge of the grid is rounded out by the two Foxes of Christoph Lichtenstein, Raymond Dobmer, and Dan Rusu is last on the grid after choosing not to qualify.
Yeah.
Those starting on the prime tyre, by the way, there's not many of them, and those people are Christoph Lichtenstein and Dan Rusu.
Yeah, it's not like last race where we had loads of people starting on the prime. Just pretty much everyone is gone for the options, which is good to see. It's also good to see Brandon Warren back in the car. We've not seen him since back in Australia, where I believe he scored some points. So as they all line up on the grid, we wait for the lights.
It's going to be a good one. 45 laps, one mandatory option compound tyre change. Who on earth's going to win this? I don't know. We got 5 lights, and here at the Spearhead Platoon Monaco Grand Prix, we are go, 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 go! And it is a decent start from Kantonen. Look at Gaia though, he's going to try and go on the inside of Sven de Vries into Sandovo, and oh, Gaia's out! Oh, Gaia just completely outbroke himself. There's my guess for the race win, over and done with. I think most of the other guys got through there clean, but Kantonen, great start from Sven de Vries. Fran Lopez up into P3 there because of Gaia's mistake. It's Muscat from Gagzella, Loknovsky from Toika, Siggy up to 8th, Menno down to 9th, and Tom Parker into top 10, heading into the Mirabeau Hotel section. We've got loads of people going side by side. For example, we've got Timu Toika there on the inside of Kevin Siggy. Kevin Siggy going to try around. Oh, wow, good move from Siggy on the inside of Portier 1 and heading through the tunnel now. Lots of people in close proximity. Kantonen, who had a good start, was leading by 6/10, so looks like Sven de Vries has gotten back on it. And in close proximity to Sven as well is Lopez. Muscat almost being pushed around the Nouvelle Chicane by Emmanuel Gagzella there. Pavel Loknovsky in close pursuit with Kevin Siggy, apparently losing Timu Toika. No, on back with Kantonen now. It seems he's got the handle on the situation. And rounding Raskas now. And rounding Anthony Nodes. After lap 1 of a manic first lap, it's Kantonen who leads by 7/10 of a second. It's Lopez, Muscat, and Gagzella. Muscat, Gagzella side by side into Sandovo. Muscat holds on though. There's Loknovsky, Siggy, Toika, Klont, and Tom Parker rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, it's It's been a good start by some, not by others. Mainly aiming that one at Florian Guy. Such a shame to end it at turn 1. It's never the best way to leave. He is currently in the pit lane, probably. Actually, no, he won't go lap down, so he should be able to stay on the lead lap for a while. Kevin Siggy, I saw Kevin Siggy having a massive dive bomb on Pavel Loknovsky, which I saw a couple of people doing on the first lap. Never good to see, but Pavel stays ahead in P6. Just got a lap consistently, gets a little slide out of Portier before he gets through the tunnel, which is going to leave him open into the Nivelle chicane down in P6.
Let's see what Siggy does. Not exactly known for his consistency in races, is he? And locking up heavily into the Nouveau chicane, and almost rear-ending Pavel Loknovsky as well. My worry with Siggy is that he always seems to think that he's faster than he can actually go, and that often pushes him to the limit and often leads to mistakes. And I'm really hoping, for his sake as much as anyone else's, that he's able to keep out the wall. Ahead of him, though, I noticed Jason Muscat and Emmanuel Gaxella, although Emmanuel Gaxella, I think, just made a mistake out of Raskas. Those two were very close, but Gaxella has made a mistake out of Raskas, and he's fallen right behind. Let's go back to Siggy then, see what he's up to, I think. Yeah, he's fallen off the back of Loknovsky as Raymond Dobmer comes out of the pits. And yeah, nice and clean, a little bit quiet for the moment.
Yeah, I saw Bart de Vos has planted it in the wall down at Anthony Nodes, which is not good for him. But what I'd like to say, you look at the lead 3, Sven de Vries said that it's not really his kind of track, and currently running in P2, not very far off the back of the Scurry Kentman. And big shout out to Fran Lopez, currently running in P3. So, he's not looking like he's going to drop off the back of these off sometime soon. Although now I've said that, goodbye, Fran.
We can hope and pray.
I'd like Fran to stay in that position. It's always nice to see an underdog up in those kind of positions, and what better track to deliver underdogs is Monaco.
Absolutely so. Interesting that Sven de Vries is able to hold on here. He's like a dog trying to keep a hold of his owner, isn't he? And locking up heavily into Raskas, but looking visibly faster than Kans at the moment. He gained 2/10 in Sector 2 and heading on to the home straight now. The gap, only 0.3 of a second. Sven de Vries is closing. Though around Monaco, you've got to pick your moments very, very carefully. You can't just go launching it anywhere.
Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier, that you need to be a thinking driver, and you just need to be cool-headed for this event, and that is exactly what Sven needs to do. Maybe play that strategy into it. Just don't launch yourself over that bump, as he kind of did a little bit on that lap. You can get some really sick air off that.
Sick air?
Sick air. Yeah, there we go.
Even our, by the way, shout out to our cameraman for this evening, Lewis Redshaw, in for us today. So shout out to Lewis, but even he was baffled by that. Lewis.
But look, I think it's 3 rounds in a row I've said something stupid in these broadcasts. I need to keep it up.
Got to keep up the trend. Got to stick a hashtag on it.
Yeah, as long as you can hashtag it, it's all good.
What's not being hashtagged though is Cantonen's rear end, because I tell you what, Sven de Vries has fallen off the back a bit here. Cantonen clearly seen that the American is starting to crank up the pressure, and the Finn responding in his own way. Meanwhile, back down the order, I must say, things have spread out a bit. Loknovsky and Siggy appear to be coming together a bit though, and oh my word, Siggy's coming dangerously close to the inside of Anthony Notes, and I don't like that. Like, I know I say you should go as close to the wall as possible to gain as much time as possible, but in these early stages of the races, is it really worth going hell for nether to try and actually gain positions? I don't see the point. I'd rather settle into groove myself.
It's I will say it looks a lot scarier from, like, when you're looking at the TV cams. As Timu Toika has a big dive bomb on Siggy, doesn't quite get it done, but it looks a lot scarier when you're looking at it from like the TV cams and seeing them all go around from the spectate cams. When you're actually in the car and you're getting close to the barriers, quite a lot of these drivers won't really notice that much, because they're just used to doing laps. If you pulled 200 to 300 laps of this track, then you won't really notice getting that close to the barrier, because it's just instinctive to get it. So he probably knows what he's doing, although based on previous experience within the 2014 UltraNet Supercup, some would debate that with Kevin Siggy. He's made some pretty big mistakes so far. Hopefully going to keep it together for today's feature race.
First retirement is Raymond Dobmer for Fox Racing. Shame to see someone out so early, but It was inevitable, one might say. Meanwhile, look at Teemu Toika right onto the back of Kevin Siggy heading onto the home straight. The Finnish driver is forever alone, hence why he created the team. But he is not alone in this race for sure. Ahead of him, Kevin Siggy, and behind him, not too far behind that as well, is Menno Klont in P9, who'll be surely wanting to look to score a few more points than the 7 he is occupying currently. Heading through into the rundown to the hotel section. Toika saying it's close to
That's a real big shame. So he's just going to keep it out of the way, wait until there's a good place to flick spin it, and off he goes again. He'll obviously head straight back into the pit lane with that wing damage.
And what that means is that means Menno Klont is indeed up into P8, Tom Parker up into P9, and Matt Richards then now into the top 10. And also remember, points go down to P15 here in GPVWC. So ones to keep an eye on as well is Dowie Tapper in 11th. Toika will assume will be behind, so Mike Bell will be into 12th, Jacobs into 13th, McNaughton into 14th, and Ari Nieminen will make it a double Mazurek points to score in these early stages.
Yeah, as Ari Nieminen is going to look at the back of McNaughton.
That's a good battle here.
We have a look, yeah. No, there's going to be some close battles throughout the grid as Teemu's just letting a couple of people pass. It's very close to the back of McNaughton's car for Nieminen.
Look at Fadler, that's the guy oh my word.
Yeah.
Fadler is absolutely flying through these sections. And I'm not sure whether he was hiding some pace, but the PB replacement driver is flinging his car around. And let's see whether he's going to have a dive up into Sandovo. Oh,
no, Ari
locks
Nieminen.
up.
Oh.
And he gives him the position. Luckily keeps out of the wall, and he's going to rejoin in 16th, but a long, long way behind Fadler, the German.
Yeah, I think sometimes really that's just the easiest way to get past someone, is just to spook them into making a mistake. It's just the easiest way, because making a move around this track is difficult. And if you can get them into a position where they think you're going to dive bomb, and then they'll be too busy focusing on you and they'll make a mistake, then that's just generally the easiest way to get past. As Ari Nieminen has plonked it into the barrier now, out of the Grand Hotel hairpin, so he'll have to come back into the pit lane. What was looking like some potential points is now just going to be get to the end and see what you can do in race 2, unfortunately, for Ari Nieminen.
A day in the life of the Monaco drivers, unfortunately.
Indeed, the lead is back to under a second as Sven de Vries is lapping fairly quickly. Stays at 8/10 as they cross the finish line this time. So Sven de Vries looking like he's starting to lap a bit quicker.
I'm looking more towards Pavel Loknovsky. Look at this now. Already encountering traffic in the form of Victor Silva for Waters. Kevin Siggy has caught him about a second in the case of a lap hit.
Oh, Pavel's
and oh my word, Loknovsky almost losing it through Beau Rivage and almost completely cutting off Kevin Siggy through Massenet, going into the Mirabeau hotel section now, and Loknovsky looks like he's holding on for dear life. Here is Kevin Siggy goes very wide. That'll be a bit of relief. But Loknovsky, the Estonian, not looking anywhere near as confident as he was in free practice. Is that just, I'm guessing that might be like just time out of the car? Because I mean, he hasn't sim raced in a long time here at least.
Yeah, it's a little bit of nerves. I mean, I'm looking at this and seeing how slided the car was, and you saw him on the fastest lap he did. The car looks pretty hooked up, and that's what I found in Formula Challenge, is that when you're not quite confident in the car, you're not actually slowing the car down enough for the corners. You're not really focusing on what you're doing too well, and that's what it looks like Pavel's doing, especially up into Massenet. I saw it on the first few laps of this qualifying run, is that he doesn't look like he's slowing down the car enough. So then the back stepping out in the middle of the corner, and that's not good, as he made a big mistake coming out of Anthony Nodes, cuts off Kevin Siggy, who's going to make a run down into Santa Vote.
Oh, nice move.
Yeah, that was a really nice move from Kevin Siggy.
Clean around the outside, and yeah, they're just taking us aback really. We haven't seen a lovely move from Kevin Siggy like that for a good long time. And the Austrian moves himself up into P6, and hopefully, with the pace he's been displaying, should start to pull away from Loknovsky now. And Loknovsky's got to try and keep the pace up though, because Menno Klont is only a second behind at current pace, with Tom Parker in close pursuit as well. Back up at the front, Oskari Kantonen, the lead, is only down to 6/10, and Sven de Vries, we've seen him kind of do this strategy in a longer run, haven't we? We've seen him sort of back off for the majority of the race, and then for the last 5 laps, absolutely floor it. It seems here that he's doing a sort of GP2 qualifying sort of run,
Yeah.
where he has a couple of laps off, keeping the tyres in, reading in the temperatures and everything, and then he's just on it, and you can see he's potentially trying to rattle Canton, and as they traverse the back marker of Dan Rusu heading up into Sandovo now, the gap is 0.5 of a second, so De Vries, ever so surely, closing in on his Finnish rival.
Yeah, I mean, Sven, he's always kind of done this. We saw this actually first round of the season back in Australia. He backed off a little bit, just waited for, I think, Oscari and Pushka it was. Cannon and Pushka back then. And Sven just waited it out, was in P3, was sitting 3-4 seconds off, I think, at some points, and then just reeled them in lap by lap. And by the end of it, both races, I think, at the end of both races, he was fighting for the win. He was battling Oscari Cannon for the win of that race. Obviously, Oscari taking both of them, and Sven's just looking like he's doing exactly the same thing on the streets of Monte Carlo.
We have another retirement for you, unfortunately, in the form of Yuri Ogiano for Scuderia Basilia. Not a good year for Basilia, really, and Yuri Ogiano, who was looking half decent at least, looked like he might be on the upper half for some points, maybe. Not really living up to expectations.
Bart de Vos retires as
and
well.
Bart de Vos retires as well, so 3 retirements already, but we're on to lap 11 of 45. These races are going quick.
Yeah, I think, you look at how, where we are in the race, and we've had only 3 retirements, so I think we're going to have more than 9 finishes, though now, as I say that, everyone is going to start smashing into the barriers, but no, we've got not a particularly high attrition rate, as some would expect on the streets of Monaco.
Well, mind you, we look at the Formula Challenge from yesterday, there weren't that many retirements in race 1, and that was with a 40-car grid of drivers who, in theory, should be less experienced and less racecraft worthy than these guys. It was in the reverse grid where all hell went loose, and we only had half the finishers, or half the finishers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I distinctly remember that. No, it's the thing is when you've got a reverse grid of that size, you've got some more inexperienced people heading into turn 1, and turn 1 at this track is pretty bad on a start. And so, one person makes a mistake, that costs a lot of people some front wings, puts them all out of position and with the wrong people, and then they'll all start crashing. Here, it's Derry Tapper down in P12, and Mike Bell.
He's got Thomas
Mike
Jacobs
Bell
there for
stays
as well.
ahead. Derry Tapper and Thomas Jacobs had some nice battling elsewhere, but yeah, no, it's in the reverse grid here. We've only got 6 to 10 for the reverse grid, so it's not going to be too bad, I don't think.
Let's keep an eye on this battle here now. Dowie Tapper, who, as we've alluded to, not exactly had the nicest of starts to the season. One of the unluckiest Super Cup drivers of the year, if not the unluckiest. Finally scores his maiden podium in Super Cup 2014, sponsored by UltraNet at Spain. But he's still not 100% confidently there. He wants to be getting a bit more consistent running in, and to be honest, even though he's P12, even though he's behind the infinite spell train at the moment, P12, it is still points, although he's going to have to work a bit harder if he wants to try and get up into the top 10 to secure the potential reverse group pole, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
look how far off Mike Bell is off Matt Richards already. That's 9 seconds worth of gap.
Yeah, I saw those two battling it out on the first lap. But the thing is Dowie was in front of Mike a little bit earlier, as Thomas Jacobs has a big slide and is probably going to lose position to Adrian Norton. Yes, he does indeed. So down into 14th position. Yes, into the Welsh going to this other side. But Adrian Norton will have the advantage. But yeah, no, it's with Derry Tapper, he was in front of Mike, so he must have made a mistake at some point. Did Tapper? So it's quite odd to see that, but never mind. He is now behind Mikey Bell, which, let's be honest, as we've both experienced, probably the person you do not want to be behind in the streets of Monaco.
This is... Well, actually, it's interesting. I was talking to Mike Bell about, surely this sort of circuit is your haven. You love defending off people. I mean, look at Dowie Tapper almost pushing Mike Bell around Sandovo there, but Mike Bell just putting it in exactly the right place. And I was saying, surely this is one of the best places for you. You can just put your car anywhere and nobody can get past you. Actually, this is one of Mike Bell's least favourite circuits, and so it's strange to see how, you know, a circuit. I mean, you could apply the same to Sven de Vries. You've got two drivers here who actually quite despise this circuit, and yet are doing incredibly well in it. Nonetheless, it really shows what sort of good drivers they are. You know, Mike Bell in the defensive sort, and Sven de Vries in just a pure driver sense.
Yeah, the thing is, you know, with this track and Mikey Bell, that's Thomas Jacobs out of the race. What happened there? I will have a look. My replay is not going to show me. So yeah, it was just a disconnection, unfortunately. It's the second time this season Thomas Jacobs has had a disconnection.
His sparkle dust is running out.
Yeah, well, he didn't have a single disconnection last season because I don't think he DNF'd Formula Challenge race. That's a shame. He's done 2. Okay, we've just picked up this season some sort of weak connection, which is
yes,
always
because he's just moved into his new house.
Of course, I remember this.
So unfortunately, Thomas Jacobs suffering from new house problems. We also have Dan Russo out. So the retirement count is up to 5 on lap 14 of 45. What's also getting closer together is Kantonen and Sven de Vries. The gap only 3/10 now, and one must wonder whether the American's going to perhaps tactically stay behind Kantonen. Just to say, try and rattle him perhaps, try and force him into a mistake. It worked for the Formula Challenge guys with Peter Burlack yesterday, but Finns are generally known for their cooler heads, and I don't think Ascari is going to be letting slip in the near future.
Yeah, I don't think he'll let this get to him, and Sven's got to think up an interesting move, as I have also just picked up on something quite small, is that its 20th position has been lapped. So we've got 19 cars in the lead lap. So these guys are lapping pretty quickly. You know, to say they've gotten around that many people this early.
Well, I think that's going to be down to people pitting as well, surely.
Indeed, quite possibly.
Yeah. I've just been notified by Mr. Cameraman, Mr. Redshaw, that Tapper is knocking on the door of the Bell House. Ding dong. Nobody's at home though. And Mike Bell keeps the door closed. Tapper on the inside of Beau Rivage, on the inside of Massenet as well.
Wow,
that was, well, it was a good attempt. I must say, that is the most legitimately good attempt I've seen against Mike Bell in any series around this track so far. And Tapper desperate to get past, and you know why that is. It's because Mr. McNaughton has now caught up. He is latched onto the back. He's the new carriage in the part of the Bell train. And behind McNaughton as well, don't count out Thomas Fadler, who's in close pursuit as well. So Dowie Tapper, he knows he has to do something, and something fast on the inside of the Blue chicane. Oh, he outbrakes himself and thankfully keeps it out of Mike Bell's rear wing. But he's getting desperate now.
Yeah, he is. You can tell that. There is nothing more infuriating for a driver than sitting behind Mikey Bell for a few laps. It does become exceedingly irritating, and it does cause people to make mistakes. You know, they're always pushing too hard to make a move, and you think, oh, he'll brake a bit earlier for this, and he really won't. And so, that's why some people do make mistakes. But that's what Mike is known best for, is his defensive driving, and showing that now against Dowie Tapper, who is a very quick driver. Is he going to look anywhere? He's going to look for the inside of Massenet again.
Oh my word! And he is. It's a bit bashful, isn't it? And Mike Bell,
back through.
My word! And
That was
Tapper
a big
just clouts
hit with
the
the wall,
outside of the wall. And is he going to keep ahead of McNaughton? Let's have a look. He's going to be on the inside of the Mirabeau Hotel chicane. Tapper just about gets away with it. Oh, look at Fadler off the inside of McNaughton. That was opportunistic. And the German gets ahead of McNaughton. But I imagine Tapper would have some nasty little suspension damage there. But one thing which I'd also like to bring up is, of course, the fact that all of these guys have to pit onto the opposite option of tyres. So all these guys are on the option tyres, the faster tyres. They don't last as long life-wise. Everyone's got to go onto the prime tyre, and I do wonder whether someone might look at going onto the prime tyre a bit early to perhaps try and jump people.
Yes, as I've just been told, Sven and Ascari are both very close.
I also noticed that Pavel's into the pits and out of the pits as well. And onto the option tyre.
Why?
Two stop.
Oh, Martin O'Connor on the exit of the pit lane. That would have scared many things out of him, I'm sure. He's quite happily gotten in front of Mikey Bell.
It's Pavel Luknovsky, it's fine.
Yeah, so...
He's not scared of anything.
No. Well, clearly Monaco on those first few qualifying laps.
But yeah, interesting he comes out on the option tyre. Suggesting me two-stop strategy.
Yes, that's obviously going to be a two-stop strategy. We've seen plenty of people do this. I don't know what he'll be doing in the second race, and maybe you can tell me how many laps it is. I believe it's 20.
It's 26 laps.
It's 26. Wow, they're doing
also,
a lot of laps.
Interestingly, Ascari Kantonen, this is like a cool little behind-the-scenes thing. Kantonen said that he can ask me any questions he like, or I like, before the race, and he said that he is going to be looking to try a one-stop strategy himself.
Okay. I'm going to assume, based on what we've seen this year, most of the grid will be trying a one-stop strategy. There's been no track off the top of my head where people widely across the grid, other than maybe last time where the two-stop strategy. Yeah, I think last time it was 50-50. There was quite a lot of people going for two-stop. I think most went for a one-stop though. One-stop's been quite a predominant thing this season, and. This track from memory doesn't have too high tyre wear because as much as you're attacking a lot of corners, you're not particularly attacking them at the highest speed. So rear tyre wear sometimes gets away from you, but front-wise it's no problem.
Oh, Gagzella! Oh, Gagzella, he's lost it on into the Nouvelle chicane. And, sorry to cut across you, but Kevin Siggy almost clattered into Kevin Siggy. And the Austrian was lucky to get away from that. And I'll tell you what, if there's two drivers I didn't want to place together on this track, those two.
Yeah, it would be those two. Yeah, I would not want those two. There's a couple of others that I'd like less on track together.
As Gagzella pits.
Okay, maybe those tyres have just gone. We'll see what he goes on to. Ascari Kantonen out of the race.
Oh, let's have a look at what happened here. So, going up into Saint-Devoux, did he just outbrake himself? Oh, he outbroke himself into Saint-Devoux, and what did we say? You can never expect anything here at Monaco, and our race leader, Ascari Kantonen, is gone. Our championship leader, Ascari Kantonen, is gone. And Sven de Vries has now inherited the lead, and I know for certain that American is going to be jumping up and down, enjoying that cockpit of his. That is a lifesaver. Fran Lopez then is up into P2 for Positive Sim Racing. Amazing stuff. Muscat third, Siggy fourth, Parker fifth, Clont sixth, Richard seventh, Gagzella eighth after pitting, Loknovsky ninth after pitting, and Mike Bell into the top 10, still holding off the likes of Dowie Tapper, Thomas Fadler, and Adrian McNaughton as well.
Well, that just completely reopens up the championship lead for Sven de Vries, which he'll retake. Now, actually, will he retake the championship lead after this?
He is
24 points. Yeah, he will take the championship lead.
Yeah.
If he wins this race, unless he crashes, at which point Fran Lopez will be in the lead, and that's a bit crazy. But no, that's I think that's the second year in a row where we've had the leader.
Yeah.
Think it's just what is it with leaders at this track? I think it's a fantastic idea to go and meet the wall.
Matt Richards in.
Okay.
And so the Welshman pits from P7. Manuel Gagzella will go through, as will Pavel Loknovsky. Let's have a look at the Bell train, see if anyone pits from this. Indeed, Thomas Fadler pits, as does Adrian McNaughton. So the two rivals covering themselves off. And into the points, I've noticed, comes Florian Geyer.
Interesting.
Who, of course, could have potentially gone onto the prime tyres when he pitted, but he decided to go onto the options.
I mean, we know Florian's got some ridiculously high tyre wear, so he'll probably just be looking out for the right time to put into the primes. Gagzella, P7.
So we're hearing through from our lovely cameraman once again. Potential drive-through penalty for Emmanuel Gagzella for speeding in the pit lane, and I noticed that is Brandon Warren out of the race as well. So Gagzella, I mean, I know he's not had the best of times in these cars, as Fran Lopez now pits, But I mean, that's just a basic drive. That's a basic error. You don't turn your pit limiter off until you're at the pits, as I see. I think Menno Klontz in as well. Yes, he is.
You see, I distinctly know.
Jason Muscat in and out.
Okay,
as well,
yes, Jason Muscat out in 5th position. But no, I've seen it from a few drivers. Just a few drivers making a few mistakes. Notably one who went to go flash his lights and pressed the speed limiter button, and things went badly for him in that race. But yeah, it's quite easy to actually turn off the pit limiter when you actually think about it. I've been playing another game with Kers in it, and when going down the start-finish straight here, I've gone to press my Kers button, which is the pit speed limiter. That's always an interesting one. That's the wrong way around to do it. That's a really bad thing to do.
Right,
Sven de Vries
is in, and as Sven pits, we're going to have a bit of a rarity in the race broadcast. We have a mid-race interview, and we have it with Ascari Cantonen. Ascari, what on earth happened there?
Yeah, I tried to make a gap to Sven de Vries for making a pit stop later on, and I was targeting about 2 seconds, and I just took the first corner slightly wrong, and you saw the result there.
Yeah, interesting enough, actually, I noticed Sven de Vries, your championship rival, if he wins this race, he re-overtakes you in the championship lead, but it appears that Fran Lopez has just gone out ahead of him. Starting in race 2, Ascari, you're going to be in a pretty difficult position, and what's the aim from here? Do you think you can do anything?
Well, it's 24th position, so it's right in the middle of the field almost. It'll be difficult, but at least I'm not last, so I'll try my best.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, unlucky on your race crash there, Ascari, and we'll look forward to seeing what you have in race 2.
Yeah, thanks.
Alright, so it's simple mistakes, isn't it? And talking of simple mistakes, I'm not sure what on earth happened here, but how Fran Lopez has jumped Sven de Vries is beyond me.
Probably fuel. I would reckon fuel. Maybe Fran's still going for a 2-stop. I don't know. I think we've seen it a couple of times where he's not putting enough fuel into the car. And Sven apparently had a very slip in lap, so it could be that.
Might have made a mistake potentially.
Oh, Sven's made a big mistake there.
Oh well. Oh, look,
Jason
Muscat.
Yeah, Jason Muscat. Can I get back into this? Okay.
Don't you just love Monaco?
Oh, you do indeed.
Lewis saying no. To be fair, I absolutely make fun of it every single time he gets onto the F1 calendar saying, "Oh, I shouldn't be there." Blah, 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 blah. In sim racing, it just works because nobody has any idea what's going to happen, and everyone's pushing to their maximum. They don't care that there's walls there. They're not going to get hurt at the end of the day, and ultimately, that's what we love to see.
I'm quite happy with this being on the calendar. It gave me a good qualifying session.
Oh, stop bragging, you.
No, I will never stop.
You will not. Okay. I guess you do deserve it. Good boy. That's all. What was that? That was Oh no, it wasn't Fadler. It's Pelkonen hitting a back marker. But in comes Florian Gaia then. He has indeed needed to pit for presumably a set of prime tyres, I imagine. Basically, that means Aaron Neiman goes past him and Dowie Taparin as well. Why is Taparin?
Dowie's back in. He could have sped in the pit lane, maybe.
Oh dear. What is it? What is it with these Formula Challenge stars?
Yeah, he did speed in the pit lane. I think
He did. It's a drive-through.
Basic error.
Well, I'm just thinking, if Gaxella had not served his penalty, he would have been black flagged by now, surely. So potentially just got away with it. But yeah, so a drive-through penalty for Tapper, so his season goes from a great bounce back to...
Bell into the pit lane?
Yeah. It's just a shame, as Mike Bell, as you say, into the pit lane. And quite frankly, it's not worth reading out the order, because it's just all chopping and changing. I've got no idea where anyone is. I think the top 3 is pretty much sorted, aren't they? As is Kevin Siggy in 4th, Emmanuel Gaxella in 5th, Pavel Loknovsky 6th.
Oh, Emmanuel Gaxella and Christoph Lichtenstein had a big knocking together, and Pavel Loknovsky got past. That is going to really irritate Gaxella, because that was a really silly mistake for Christoph Lichtenstein.
Who, of course, is a past champion, can you believe it, of Supercup in 2010.
Has he won at Monaco?
You know what? I will go and check for you, Lewis.
I feel.
Actually, no, hold on. No, he didn't win because in 2010, yes, he did. He did win in Monaco.
He did
in
win
2010.
2010, yes, for Drake
Yep.
Racing. He did indeed.
There we go. So past winners, how they fall.
Yeah, that's a shame, but that's a really basic error that's cost Gaxella quite a lot and possibly quite a bit of damage onto his car. As he's coming up to lap Mikko Häkkinen.
Okay.
Gets out of the way.
Interesting, actually. I've just noticed this. Santiago Niza, who is in the other Street Fighter car, he has yet to pit. He's been on these option tyres for 24 laps.
How long's the next race again?
26.
26.
As that's Mikko Häkkinen who's went out there.
That's right. But yeah, Santiago Niza may be doing a bit of practice for the next race to see how long these tyres can go.
I mean,
And seeing if he can do a full race run. We see this quite a lot, where they use one of the stints in this race just to see if they can actually do the next race. Obviously, they'd already know prior to that. They're not like going, hey, let's go into this weekend without any idea of strategy.
His pace hasn't been spectacular here. I mean, he's been doing solid 120s, 119s. Interesting enough, though, he's done his fastest lap of the race on that last lap.
Yeah, as we've discussed this with these tyres a lot, is the biggest thing with them is the thermal degradation as opposed to the actual, the proper degradation of the tyre. Because the tyres last until they have about 20% left, and then they start to drop off, and then when they get to 15, they're gone. But that's what we see a lot with these tyres. So you can pull your bestest lap, especially you can easily pull your best lap towards the end of a stint because you've got no fuel in the car, but the tyres are still roughly where they were. So it's not surprising that people will be doing their fastest laps towards the end of a stint, especially at this track.
And as we say
comes
that,
into the pits.
in comes Santiago Niza on lap 25 of 45. One more lap, and he would have completed the entire sprint race distance. I wonder if he's going to be one of the only ones to go option tyres. If you're just joining us here on lap 25 of 45, you've missed a lot. Plenty of action, plenty of drama, and your retirements so far include Raymond Dogma, Yuri Ogiano, Bart DeVos, Dan Rusu, Thomas Jacobs, Brandon Warren, and our race leader for almost half this race, Ascari Canton, out after outbreaking himself into San Devo, your current race leader on the Prime Compound tyres, Fran Lopez, who's followed by Sven De Vries, Jason Muscat, Kevin Siggy, Pavel Loknovsky, who is definitely on a two-stop after going on to the option tyre, Emmanuel Gagzella, Tom Parker, Menno Klont, Matt Richards, Santiago Niza, who's just had contact with Martin O'Connor, I see, into the Mirabeau Hotel section, and that means Mike Bell is up into the top 10, so it's Niza 11th, Fadler 12th, Niemanen into 13th, who's also on the option tyre, McNaughton 14th, and Florian Geyer, who lost it into San Devo at turn 1 on lap 1. He is legitimately back in the points now.
Yeah, I'm sure Santiago's day's just been completely ruined because when he came out of the pit lane, he was in front of Mikey Bell, and now he's back behind him, which is not good. But yeah, no, it's an interesting order so far. It's a shame another back marker got in the way, but I did say prior to this the back markers were going to be an issue. Matt Richards has spun and hit the barrier.
I also noticed that
back
Parker's
marker.
got past Gagzella as well. What happened to Gagzella here? Oh, Gagzella just lost it out of Massenet.
Yeah, I also just saw what happened to Matt Richards. It was an accident with Mikko Häkkinen. And yeah, well, speaking of past champions, there's your past two-time Super League champion. Unfortunately, making a large mistake there.
It is crazy, isn't it? Bart DeVos, who's out as well, Super Cup champion from 2011. It's crazy to see how people just change throughout the mods, and so that means that Matt Richards, unfortunately, is going to be pretty much almost lapped. But I mean, he's just gone out ahead of Dawe Tapper, like literally just ahead of Tapper into 15th. But these guys have got to watch out now because Fran Lopez is just about to lap them as well.
Yeah, Matt is on the options as well. He will probably go a lap down because they'll start getting shown blue flags very shortly. He's made a mistake, which means Dawe Tapper is going to get through. This is not what Fran Lopez is going to want to see. He's just, he wants to see these guys getting out of the way as early as possible. And he is getting pretty close, so I would suggest to these two to get out of the way before the Nouvelle chicane.
We'll see, won't we? Lopez, who currently has a 3-second lead over Sven de Vries. Lopez, the guy who we've seen falter so many times on so many occasions in so many situations. He's pulled a strategy masterclass here, hasn't he? And if he's able to go to the end on these prime tyres, that's 25 points in the bag for Positive. And can you believe it as well? Positive Sim Racing with Balázs Remenick and Kevin Siggy, a team that was so hyped up at the start of the year. We were expecting them to be in the top 6. They weren't there. The boost that 25 points would give Positive, just to give you an idea, it still wouldn't take them into a position above 9th. But at this stage, it's going to take them on to 74 points, which is less than 20 away from Malta Force at current state.
Yeah.
So a long way to go, but it's a start.
I believe Fran's signed for them for the whole season, though, and I do remember last time saying when he was driving for FA, I think it was FA that he was driving for back in.
He was, yes.
You know, and back then that was at the track where he'd the 2 events that he'd done prior to doing Supercup, he'd won a race at.
Yeah.
And you know, I was saying that okay, statistically, you know, he could probably win a race, but there's no way this guy is going to win a Supercup race. And here he is, legitimately leading a Supercup race as Matt Richards gets out of the way, jumps over the chicane, probably going into position to Dowie Tapper. Indeed.
That's genius by Tapper. Well done. Got out of the way early for Lopez, and Matt Richards got caught completely off guard. And that is the difference between 2 and 1 points. It may not be much, but it's something at least.
It's enough.
And Santiago Niza back up into P10. And Mike Bell into P9.
Mike Bell into the wall was what I saw at Massenate. He made a big mistake and went into the wall. He's not headed too hard, but enough.
Matt Richards into the pits.
Oh, don't let this be a
Is
drive-through.
that another drive-through?
It is. It is. Oh, no, he's parking it. Okay.
Why?
Maybe just having enough. He was in the points. Okay. Move on.
Get on that. That's one of the most bizarre retirements I've ever seen. It really is. And so what that means is that Ari Niemanen is now to the points, and Dowie Tapper has quite a lovely gap actually, although he's just about to be lapped by Sven de Vries. Now, just to give you an idea of the lead, it is, because of the traffic encountered by Lopez, it is now slashed down to 2.1 seconds. So Sven's starting to turn the crank up again. He's been able to heat up his prime tyres, and no doubt he'll want to dispatch with Dowie Tapper as quickly as possible, not try and make any mistakes, and start turning the screw on Lopez. It is only lap 30 or 45, still 15 laps to go.
Yeah, the thing is with Sven, though, is that Sven was behind Oskari Kantonen for quite a while and never really got past. Whereas, I don't know if you've driven against Fran before. It is
I have.
Quite a butt-clenching experience. He is a very aggressive driver and knows how to defend, knows how to attack. So on the streets of Monaco, probably not one you'd want to be coming up to the back of, especially when it's the lead of a race.
The one thing I'd say is the difference between Kantonen and Lopez is experience. And it was that experience which was keeping Kantonen from making mistakes, you know, going off the road. And I worry for Lopez in that regard, because if Sven de Vries is able to scare Lopez off the road.
Yeah, no. Fran is young and doesn't care about being scared.
Really?
Yeah, no, I've never seen him.
He's one of the youngest drivers here, I know, but
yeah, I've not seen him probably get phased by an experience.
Right, we have a close battle here on the edges of the top 10, and this is actually quite a significant battle as well, because this could potentially be the difference between reverse grid pole and starting in P11. You have Mike Bell in P9, Santiago Niza in P10, who's on that one-stop strategy, and Thomas Fadler in P11. All very close, but once again, it's just the effects of the Bell train, isn't it? And Bell doing his utmost to make everyone else's day behind him a misery by not letting anyone past.
Yes, I've had my fair share of times in a Bell train. But who was that switching positions?
Oh, it's Parker! He's lost his front wing! And that was... Where was that? Oh, wow, okay. He just lost into Raskas. Went left instead of right. Wrong way.
Yeah, now I had this with a back marker yesterday, coming up into Raskas. And it's so easy to lose it on the bumps there. And you know, this back marker spun basically into the side of my car, just missed it. But it's... You know, you can't really have too much problem with it because it is so bumpy. I think every driver would have lost it into that section, you know, at some point prior to this event. It's so easy to do because of the bumps there are so aggressive.
And such is the gap that Parker had ahead of anyone else. He actually comes down to P8, so it's not exactly a race-threatening accident at all. The battle behind him is Mike Bell, Santiago Niza and Fadler, and they're only going through Beau Rivage and Massenet, so yeah, not bad for Parker. It's something you wouldn't have wanted to deal with, but I guess if he gets P8 and a reverse grid pole, he won't be complaining. Below Fadler, actually, it should be worth mentioning, Adrian McNaughton in P12, Florian Gaia just behind him in P13 as well, David Tapper 14th, and Ari Noonan still holding on to P15.
Indeed. As Fran Lopez is he's got a 1.5 second lead at the moment with 13 laps to go. Still quite a long way to go in this race. A lot of laps to be covered. I think they're by far the most on the calendar, and I know it will be the most on the calendar hit, being pretty much the quickest lap. So still a lot of time for Sven de Vries to close this one up, and a lot of laps for him to find his way past.
Tails also closing is the battle for P4 and P5. Kevin Siggy v Pavel Loknovsky. It's not exactly the race win that Loknovsky was having, but considering how up and down his qualifying was, I think to end up in P5, not a bad return for the Estonian, especially on his return to the Super Cup.
Yeah, remember he's only got to win one of the races today to take the most amount of wins on the streets of Monte Carlo.
And if it's, I tell you what, if it's P6 as well, the reverse grid, that puts him on the front row.
Quite possibly, yes. So it's Niza and Fandler. Oh, very close. Bit of contact between all three of them there. That was a simple bump all the way to the front of the field of that little train. And I'm not really sure how far Florian Gar is. Florian Gar and Adrian McNaughton are battling away. Florian Gar obviously with the mistake down into turn 1 on the first lap, trying to fight his way up towards a decent reverse grid position, which I think he's going to get in this race. There's not enough laps, and yes, just far too far away.
Unless there's a massive accident between Bell, Niza and Fadler, which is still completely possible.
That is absolutely possible. As much as it's not something I would like to see.
No, it's nothing. None of us want to see a bad accident, do we?
But I mean, if Mike had one of those 8 car bell trains like he did back in Abu Dhabi last season in Formula Challenge, having a crash between all 8 of those would be hilarious.
It would. But it seems that the battle of the bell train at Monaco has spread out a bit at least. Behind them, McNaughton defends off Gaia. Gaia doesn't go wide at Sandovo, which was his fatal mistake on lap 1 of this race, and he may very well have to stay behind another lap. The gap at the front. Fadler again. Oh, Pavel, yes.
Yes, Pavel pitting, obviously.
Yeah, this is what we were expecting, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was on the prime.
Goes.
Yeah, so we've dropped back a couple of positions.
What happened to Neiman in there? I saw him slowing up.
Yeah, I think he's had an accident with the wall.
Yep, he has some pits, doesn't he? Oh, does this mean Christoph Lichten? Oh, Christoph Lichten is miles behind. And on the option tyre as well. So Neiman
Pavel Loknovsky at 7th.
Okay, so that's not bad for the Estonian, is it?
Oh, he's right behind Menno as well. So seeming to aim for P6, which would be very good for his race too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless we have 10th, and then he's got Mike Bell in front of him.
He doesn't want that. Nobody wants that. But look at this battle up the front. This is starting to get juicy, isn't it? Only 6/10 gap between Fran Lopez and Sven de Vries. We will be heading on to lap 36. Oh! Look! Oh, Niza. Oh, and Niza's car is...
I'm just having a quick look at it.
Yeah.
Oh,
What was that? That
yeah, that was a big.
That was big fault by Fadler. Absolutely. And Nisa's car has seen better days. It looks like the aftermath of a toddler getting fed up with his favourite toy, really, hasn't it? And the Spaniard, unfortunately, out of this race. A real shame for him. He was looking for some good points. And do you know what this means, Lewis? It means that Christoph Lichtenstein will score a point.
Wow.
Our 2010
Wow.
champion, who has been well off the pace. Can you believe he actually scored 6 points in the opening round of the season as well?
Did you really?
He did. He scored 6
Wow.
points.
Oh, it'd be good to see him score some points in the streets of Monaco. As Fadler decides to visit the barrier again.
And you know what?
Oh, and again.
It's just the whole point of Monaco, isn't it? You just keep going round. You keep it out the wall. And Christoph Lichtenstein is potentially going to benefit here by gaining a point. Oh, Christoph.
Oh,
But-
Christoph.
But hey, look at this now. Lopez v De Vries, and they have got traffic coming up in the form of Timo Toika and Adrian McNaughton. May I remind you, Adrian McNaughton in P12. That's how fast and how manic this race has been. And Lopez lost a lot of time trying to traverse traffic in his last encounters. And I wonder how Timo, very sensible back marking there. He knows how to get it done. Good job from Timo. Gets out of the way nicely, but heading through the Mirabeau section. Oh, that was a little kiss from Sven De Vries. Call it a Valentine's card and send it through the post box.
Long time ago that was.
Sven De Vries, it is a long time ago, but Sven De Vries likes to get things late, doesn't he? And yes, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
I did get past before. So
Yeah.
Byron to P11, so he... Wow.
Oh, big lag
Oh,
from me.
lag.
That was massive. I think everyone would have got that. That was a service spike. We've had those a couple of times,
Oh,
but
and look at Gaia! Gaia on the inside of Fadler! Oh my word, Gaia's into the top 10!
no, he's just
Oh,
dropped back down.
He's just dropped back down, Fadler's still ahead, but Gaia, we completely wrote him off from a top 10 position. Oh, Fadler's car's damaged, he's crabbing hugely, Gaia's into the top 10! What if he gets reverse
Wow.
pole position now?
What if he gets reverse grid pole position and does exactly the same thing?
And look who'd be on the front row alongside him. Guaranteed race win for Gaia.
Yeah, if that is the case. So things are on the up for Florian Gaia after such a miserable start to the race. He's done a very, very good job to pull this one back. So
and look at behind him as well. Look at De Vries on the inside. And Fran Lopez again. This is gone Pete Tong now. It's lap 38 of 45. Out of the way goes Fadler, and Lopez trying to get slipstream off Fadler. I don't know why. It's not like he gained anything. Heading into the Nouveau chicane. What can Sven De Vries do? Is he going to try and scare Lopez on the road? Lopez looks up, and De Vries tries to get the comeback, but it's simply too tight to Lopez. He's spinning up his tyres, and Sven De Vries is all over the back of that rear gearbox. Through the swimming pool section we go now with Sven De Vries. And, oh, he's hounding him. He's hounding him like a bad Elvis remake. And, oh, he dives on the inside of Raskas!
Oh.
And that was contact. And that is not the place to do it. You're right, Lewis.
Yeah, that...
Of the red short variety, that is.
Yeah. No, that... You see, the thing is with those final two turns with Raskas and Anthony Nodes, they look like, oh, we can do a move here, and then they are so tight, especially on this build of Monaco. It's so tight. So there's no way you're getting the move done there. I think we saw it at Formula Challenge last year. Loads of people trying to move, and not one of them paying off.
No. I think you are absolutely right. But it's not going to deter Sven De Vries. He is still going to hound the back of Fran Lopez, and look at him. He does take that Mirabeau section much faster, doesn't he? And it means that he's right on the back of him going through Portier 2 here. Out of the way goes Olli Pelkonen, and Lopez tries to get the slipstream. Pelkonen not actually getting out the way.
He'll get out of the way.
Which might
Just
cause
goes straight on.
troubles.
Yeah.
Yep, sensible back marking, and look at Sven De Vries now. Right on the back of Lopez. He wants this race win. He wants to retake the lead of the championship. This is a huge opportunity presented to him, and as good as a driver as Ascari is, I do fear for what he might encounter in race 2 in that danger zone area, heading into Anthony Nose now. Look how wobbly De Vries was on exit there. And onto the home straight now, going on to lap 40 of 45. We've got 6 laps to go here at the Principality. Fran Lopez leads by 5/10, extending his gap there from Sven De Vries. It's Muscat, Insiggy, Gagzella, Klont, Loknowski, Parker, Bell and Geyer, Fadler, McNaughton, Tapper and Niemanen, and Christoph Lichtenstein rounding out your points scorers at the moment as Martin O'Connor now retires from this race. We are up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 retirements for the day.
Yes, that's for the day so far. I see Mikey Bell has some company once again. This time in the form of Florian Geyer trying to move himself further up in the top 10.
Looking on the inside of Nouveau Chicane, he can't do anything though, can he?
Yeah, I think Florian, out of all of the people behind Mikey Bell, Florian probably able to do it because Florian's definitely got some very, very good pace at this track, and most of the places we've been so far this season.
Yeah, they are going to get a lap soon.
Yes, they are. Yes, that is a very good point. They are going to go a lap down very shortly.
It's all about whether Florian Geyer will know that Lopez and De Vries are coming, surely. Maybe he can use that to his advantage. Let's see, the battle we're looking at now is Geyer v Bell, and you can just have little sneak previews of Lopez and De Vries in the background.
Oh, yeah, De Vries is very close. As he has been for quite a while, I will add.
Something may happen. Oh, Geyer goes, he was a little bit wobbly into the Mirabeau section, but he's okay still. Meanwhile, Lopez keeps ahead of De Vries going to the Mirabeau section with Bell and Geyer. This is going to be a real test of Bell's defensive work here, because Geyer is not an easy customer to handle. He's a master of many traits, and as I say, he's been on super red-hot form. Heading into the Nouveau Chicane, is he going to take a dive? Oh, that was a Raikkonen Perez move. And Mike Bell cuts the chicane and doesn't give him the position back. Debatable.
Debatable, yeah. I think this will be one that if you show to a large group of community and they'll all disagree on it, so no, I don't know where to go.
And Guy's going to go on the inside. Oh, and I knew he was going to do it. I knew it. That was masterful from Geyer.
That was very sensible from Florian. Just wait for the right opportune moment and get it sorted whilst Mike is trying to let some back markers through. So Bell, they're down into 10th position, still within the 6 to 10 pole position. Reverse grid chance, but not on the good side of it. Florian Geyer, though, moving his way back up, and his Simcraft teammate is the next car down the road, but a long way down indeed.
Yeah, only the top 8 on the start lap.
Sven De Vries, though, wow.
Vries, that was a Hamilton mount.
Yeah, that was a very interesting part of the track that no one wants to visit.
Except that nasty alleyway, which, don't be nice people.
No, it's not talking about that. I'm not allowed to.
But anyway, that's
before 9 o'clock.
It is before 9 o'clock, and it should be only mentionable in the OTT chat here on GPVWC TeamSpeak. But anyway, Sven De Vries, he's been on the back of Fran Lopez for the past 10 laps or so now, and he's not been able to find a way through. And I do wonder whether he's just going to have that holding up sense a bit as we lap Christoph Lichtenstein again. The German goes 2 laps down, but he's not going to care. He's still in P15. But I tell you what, surely Fran Lopez is going to be wasting his tyres away trying to defend here.
Yeah. I know. I'm assuming by Fran's driving style, which is crazy at best, his tyres will be demolishing themselves anyway. So I'm going to assume his tyre wear's pretty high with Fran, just basing that on his driving style. So, his tyres dropping off towards the end of the race might be something to look out for.
Well, it's lap 43 and 45. Sven De Vries looks on the inside of the Mirabeau chicane once again, and he's going to try and go on the inside. He's going to be on the outside of 48-1. And can he hold him around the outside of 48-2? He's going to try. He's going to go around the outside. Oh, and Fran Lopez holds on for dear life, and he's just about held on. going through into the Nouveau chicane now. Sven de Vries on the outside, Fran Lopez on the inside. Fran Lopez looks up and Sven de Vries around the outside. Oh, and Sven de Vries takes the lead in this race. What a wonderful move that was. Fran Lopez locks up and Sven de Vries pounds on that chance. He may not have had another until the end of the race, maybe not even until then. And the American takes the lead, and it's up to Fran now to respond, if he can indeed respond.
I don't think he'll be able to respond to that as we head on to the penultimate lap. Sven de Vries into the lead.
3 laps to go.
We've completed 43, we've got 44 and 45.
You're right, yeah.
My
I'm
maths.
I need to say quick maths, James, otherwise it doesn't work.
Yeah. So yeah, I've seen Dario Tapper and Adrian McNaughton have been switching out positions in 11th and 12th. They're very close up towards turn 1. So the vote. No position change. Dario Tapper backs out of it quite nicely.
Folks, I'm sorry. This battle for the lead, you don't know what could go on. Fran Lopez is not letting go. You know, Fadler's in the pits in P13. Comes out to the pit
with no front wing as well.
No front wing. Was that a drive-through?
Well, it was a really good pit crew. I'll give him that.
Where's Christoph? Oh, he's miles behind. That's a shame.
That's such a shame for Fadler. But I don't think Fran is going to be able to challenge. You see that he's dropped off.
He's starting to pull away now, yeah.
A little bit. So I think that's those two pretty much sorted. And the only other two that's close is really Dowie.
Hey, no, look at Klonton Loknovsky.
Klonton Loknovsky. Oh, wow, yeah.
That's close down massively. Oh, no!
Fadler. That right there is the best example of the curse of the commentator. As now behind him is Tom Parker, the person that was sitting in that seat only 2 rounds ago.
How times have changed.
How times have changed indeed. We're on the final lap though, and Fran has closed up to the back of Sven de Vries again.
I said he wasn't going to let go, was he? Perhaps preserving his tyres, and I wouldn't put it past Fran to try a dive bomb somewhere.
He's very erratic with his dive bombs. Is Fran Lopez, and Sven de Vries should be aware of that.
We might as well keep these two until the end of the lap. Lopez looked a little bit dodgy on the exit of 48-2 as we head through the tunnel now. Up ahead of us we see Patrick Gaywood missing his front wing. Hopefully he will get out of the way nicely. Indeed he does. Good job, Patrick. And yeah, you can see, look at Fran Lopez's Loknovsky and Klont.
Klont off.
Yeah. What happened to those two? I think... Yeah, Klont just went wide, and that's hilarious! Wow, so Klont went wide. Back to the lead, sorry. So Sven de Vries then, I'll tell you what happened afterwards. Sven de Vries comes round, and he takes his 3rd win of the season, his first since Malaysia. Sven de Vries, the American, takes it from Fran Lopez. What a fantastic effort from the young Spaniard that was. Not a race win at the end of the day, but 20 points is a huge boost for positive. Jason Muscat will come home to take P3 with Kevin Sickey. What a great day it's been for positive overall so far. P2 and P4 is their best result of the year so far. Emmanuel Gagzella, miles behind, but he will come home in P5, a good 11 points for Storm, with Tom Parker in P6, Pavel Loknovsky in P7, and I'll tell you what happened between Klont and Loknovsky. So Klont went wide at Saint Devoux, spun around, went to come back on track, and Loknovsky locked up into the same corner and hit Klont head on. Loknovsky came away undamaged, and Klont lost his front wing. So Loknovsky takes P7, which is decent considering it's his first race back. Klont P8, Gaia P9, Mike Bell P10, McNaughton P11, Tapper P12, Fadler P13, Nieminen P14, and Ari Nieminen scores a point for Fox Racing. And just a reminder, for the reverse grid pole position, your potential targets are Parker, Loknovsky, Klont, Gaia, and Mike Bell.
Yeah, that was a lovely way to start the evening at Monaco Supercup, the 2014 UltraNet Supercup season, never failing to create a crazy race. That was a good one. But yeah, to say about Loknovsky very quickly, we can't forget that he was in the pit lane twice as well.
Yeah, 2-stop.
So, I think he'll have an interesting race this time. With the fact that generally the race has gone with 0 pit stops. Zero pit stops. Occasionally, I think only once actually was the last race where we had quite a number of drivers doing the one stop. God, wow, my brain just went straight off. But yeah, we had quite a few one stops back in Spain. As Pavel Oknovsky does a beautiful jump over the Naval chicane into the wall. Good job.
And also for those interested in the retirements, we had Raymond Dobmer, Yuri Ogiano, Bart DeVos, Dan Rusu, Tom Jacobs, Brandon Warren, our now deposed championship leader Ascari Cantonen, Matt Richards. So a terrible day for TSA, both of their cars out. Santiago Niza after unfortunate coming together with Thomas Fadler, which should result in a penalty, I believe. And Martin O'Connor, so both Centurions out as well. So, Lewis McGlade, are you ready to find out what our lovely reverse grid pole position is?
I'm just ready to hear any random number between 6 and 10.
Right, so remember,
let's have a little look.
Your candidates are Parker, Loknovsky, Klont, Gaia and Bell. Your reverse grid number for Monaco, the Spearhead Platoon Monaco round here in the UltraNet Supercup is number 9.
Florian Gaia. Interesting.
And Mike Bell misses out on the reverse grid pole position.
He'll kick himself in the face for that one. It's okay. But yeah, Florian Gaia, that's a pretty good...
A chance for redemption.
A chance for redemption indeed. We'll have to make sure that he knows how to brake for turn 1 this time. Who would be P2? That would be Menno Klont.
It would be Klont and then Loknovsky P3 and Parker P4.
Interesting.
So Simcraft with a very, very good chance to score some good points here and try and catch up Satellite, which you got to remember, Simcraft are only 8 points behind Satellite at the start of the Monaco round.
Indeed. But I believe after that, and so after that, Fender Reese Championship leader.
Yep.
And Ascari Cantonen starting from towards the back. So Ascari, it's all about damage limitation for Ascari right now. You know, see where he can get to get into the points at least, but where I don't know he's going to get from there. He's starting from deep in the danger zone. But it's looking like Sven de Vries is still going to walk away with this in the championship lead. Who is going to win the second race? I've got no idea. If Florian does turn 1, then my bet's on Florian.
I don't know. I put my faith... Actually, you know what?
Okay,
Pavel Loknovsky.
Pavel Loknovsky. Okay.
He's going to become the master of Monaco this year.
Okay, that's cool.
And are you ready for this? Hold on.
Okay. Wow, here comes the plug.
No, there's no plug. It's just my drink.
Okay. Sure. My drink doesn't make that kind of noise.
Doesn't it?
No, it's just in a
what
mug.
What noise does it make?
It just sloshes about in a mug. It doesn't go. Tss.
Oh.
It's just tea, really.
It's just tea. I don't like tea or coffee.
So we're no longer friends.
Apparently,
Good day.
I'm weird.
Well, you say you're weird, but there's a large number of people that I know that are kind of like, oh, you drink tea, and I'm like, oh, go away.
I don't judge you because you drink tea, but you know.
No, Mike does.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Can't see that. But hey,
very mean.
Let's talk about Christoph Liechtenstein scoring a point.
Christoph Liechtenstein, yeah, wow.
From not drawing on you particularly for any reason, but when you are... I mean, Fox Racing hasn't exactly had the best of times this season, have they? They've not had drivers scoring competitively. They've not had drivers scoring consistently. I mean, would you imagine that they'd be extremely happy with that point? Or do you think that in the mind of Bart DeVos, who of course owns that team, they could be doing better? Because, I mean, this season, across all boards, we've seen drivers dropping out because they don't feel like it. We've seen some merciless sackings as well. You know, does Liechtenstein's point make everything worth it at the end of the day, or is it just not good enough for a team that, should really be looking for higher aspirations, really?
Well, I mean, when you start the season, your two drivers are not necessarily locked in, but you've got two drivers from the start of the season. If you want to keep them to the end, that's obviously fine. But when you start the season, and when you start the season with a driver like Christoph Liechtenstein, you've got to sit there and accept that this is a guy that's not at his best, and that is no disrespect to Christoph Liechtenstein, but he's not really quite got on hold. It might just be the car. I mean, I know plenty of drivers that struggle with this car, but
I'm holding my hand up.
Yeah. There's plenty of people that I know that really can't do this car. They can drive the Formula Challenge, they can drive the Super League, but this one, no way, because it is a very difficult mod to control. And so he's been struggling with it, and so when you sit there and when you accept that's the way Fox is at the moment, then when you get a point like this, it should be a very happy experience. A very good experience to have gone to the points, especially at a track as tough as Monaco.
So, we had, 10 retirements, 11 retirements, out of a potential 30. That would be the entire field dead of retirements. That was race 1. Race 2, we usually see a bit more feistiness. It's always been the case, last race of the day you want to go all out for the race win and everything. Do you genuinely think that we will see more retirements in race 2, or do you think it'll be more of the same? Do you think the quality is that high where we'll be very lucky to see major crashes?
No. I think as is always with these reverse grids, that you probably will get a few more retirements in this race, purely based not necessarily on the fact that you got a reverse grid, or it's based on the fact of quite a lot of drivers will be under a lot of pressure, to get the first race right, so you're okay for race 2. Race 2 doesn't affect anything. Your race 1 position can completely change your race 2 result, and that's why there's so much pressure on race 1. And so you're thinking about it so much, and you're not too aggressive into the corners. You're staying away from the walls and things like that until you get into your groove. A race 2, however, there is none of that pressure. It's just literally, let's just throw this around and get as close to the walls as possible, because, hey, who cares? And that's why you probably see a lot of DNS, because some people, when they're like, oh, I don't care anymore, I'm just going to fling it around the track, will get that a little bit too close to wall, such as to back. And, drivers consistently go very, very close to the wall on the inside and the outside there, but that can so easily cost you your whole race. So I think we'll see probably a few more DNFs in this event. Hopefully not as many or as quickly as we saw back in Australia in race 2. However, at this track I would not be surprised. Could this be our first red flag of 2014? Well, didn't we have? I think when we were doing commentary for the first time, we had like 4 in a row or something. That was
that was red flag
crazy
season, wasn't it?
Crazy stuff.
And it all culminated in a bit of hot, fiery action between Sven de Vries and Oscar Hardwick and Manny Core, and after that sort of settled down, it
died down a bit, yeah. But
and as I say, both drivers have moved on. I mean, Sven de Vries, we've seen how much of a maturing process he's been through over the off-season and indeed into these opening rounds. And even though he got hit with RF scan penalties, he's now back in the lead of the championship.
Indeed.
So for how long? How long? And will we... I mean, it would be insane if this is the case, but what happens if Sven does win? I mean, he's starting P9, it's not impossible, but if he wins and keeps up this record of, same person wins race 1, wins race 2, that just blew my mind.
Yeah, that would blow my mind. It would also give him a very nice lead in the championship. Dependent on where Oskari Kantonen finishes, but things looking good for Sven at the moment, especially after what happened back in China with the RF scan issues and losing that win, and to now come back and retake that championship lead. It's going to be good for him. And we'll just have to see where he's going to finish as we're getting ready to move over into the 26-lap sprint race. which would mean they've completed 71 laps today. That's crazy.
That's a lot of laps.
That's only 7 less than Super League, I believe.
Yeah, and also, get this, Lewis. Ascari Canton's retirement is the first time that Adonis Engineering has had a car non-score this season.
Wow. Not even that's the first time they've not finished. That's just the first time they've not scored.
Exactly, let alone retire.
Wow.
They've never finished outside of the top 15 before today.
Well, any track it's going to happen. It's going to be this one with the walls getting very, very close. Meneclant rejoins.
I mean, just so there are chinks in the armour, but when you consider that they are most likely now 200 or so points ahead of the next team, it's still difficult. I mean, that's the whole reason why they've got the barrier there, in case they make mistakes.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Yeah, mistakes are very easy to make on this track.
So, where does Canton start? So Canton will start P23.
It's a long way down.
Long way down. I think he'll score points still. Just how many is the question?
Starting on the primes, I believe he will be.
Yeah, interesting.
That's a big split. That's a big split. Primes and options.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Kevin Siggy was on the options. Decided against it in the long run.
Yeah.
Right then.
We've got 5 people on the option compound tyre starting the race, so that's very interesting. How many of them are going to be pitting?
Well, let's find out, shall we? Florian Gaia then really balked up his chances of a great result in race 1. He starts on pole position here. Let's hope he gets around turn 1 without crashing it. Meneclant P2 for Malta Force. This would be if he's able to hold it in a podium position, I'm sure he'll not only be ecstatic, but Malta Force will be very happy. They've had a pretty quiet season so far. Pavel Loknovsky starts P3. Can he become the true GPVWC Monaco master in Super Cup? Tom Parker starts P4. Could this be the beginning of Simcraft's resurgence and potential challenge to Adonis Engineering? Emmanuel Gaxella starts P5 for Storm Racing, where he finished race 1. Kevin Siggy, best results of the year so far. Last race, he starts P6 for Positive with Jason Muscat. P7 for Adonis. We've got Fran Lopez. Great effort from the last race. What can you do from P8 on the grid for Positive? Then Sven de Vries, our new championship leader in P9 for Satellite. And then Mike Bell. I thought he might do this. Starting on the option compound tyre as the Englishman. He starts in P10. Adrian McNaughton, P11 for Storm, with Dawitap P12 for Street Fighter. Thomas Fadler is P13 for PB, and Ari Neiman P14 with Mazurek Racing. Christoph Lichtenstein P15 for Fox Racing, with Ollie Pelkinen P16 for PB. Victor Silva also starting on the option tyre for Water Automotives, with Team Utoika in P18 FA. Miko Yakinen with Skuru Vasily in P19, then Patrick Gatewood rounds out the top 20. We then have 2 option compound tyre runners. Santiago Niza, we know he can make it to the end of this sprint race on the option tyres, so he will be no stopping in the Street Fighter. Matt Richards may try and do the same in the TSA, with Ascari Kantonen P23. What can he do from there? Rana Warren P24 for Satellite, with Thomas Jacobs P26 for TSA, and Bart DeVos will be P26 for Waters. He starts on the options, and Yuri Oceano.
Lots of checking up into the final turn, sorry.
Yeah, and Yuri Oceano rounds out the grid P27, so we've lost a few.
Lost 3 drivers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think both Centurions are potentially gone.
Yeah, well, they're all on the grid, and they're all ready to go for 26 more laps. Monte Carlo.
Let's see what happens, shall we? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 lights in here at the Spearhead Platoon Monaco round the Super Cup. We're off for the sprint race, and it is a decent start from Florian Gaia. Pavel Loknovsky has bogged down, so does Scott. And look at Tom Parker around the outside of Sanderboat. Simcraft 1, 2, and Meneclant's round and all.
Red flag.
Well, that depends on how many people retire.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see who's gone through. I mean, Florian Gaia, he has flown off into distance. He actually almost crashed into Sanderboat again. Jason Muscat into P2, Loknovsky P3. Oh, Kevin Siggy hit the wall into P4, and oh, Mike Bell's into P4 now. Kevin Siggy missing his front wing. Fran Lopez will take P5 now. And behind them, Thomas Fadler will most likely take the position. Harry Neiman up into P8. He's having a laugh. Tap P9, Silver P10. Pelkinen, Bart DeVos in there as well. Tom Parker, who was looking like he was going to take P2, is now P13. Sven de Vries just behind him, and Matt Richards P15. Where is Askari Kantonen though? Askari Kantonen is down in P23 along with Emmanuel Gaxella and Menno Klont. And poor Christoph Lichtenstein.
Sorry, Fran Lopez has just gotten past Mike Bell.
No one's retired.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, shout out. Call of my red flag. Incorrect.
Well, as I said, it doesn't matter if there's no retirement.
Indeed. So the race must go on, as it would be.
The race will go on, absolutely.
Well, even you look back in Australia, we had a ridiculous amount of retirements, and the race kept going on because it was crazy.
He's finished lap 1 now. Florian Geyer leads by 3 seconds after that manic first lap from Jason Muscat. Pavel Loknovsky on the podium in P3, Fran Lopez P4, Bell P5 with Thomas Fadler. Look at the train behind Fadler here. He's P6. Harry Neiman P7 under heavy attack by Dowie Tapper. Looking on the inside of Beau Rivage. He did this with Mike Bell. He's Neiman's teammate, and he's going to keep it around Casino as well. Oh, he's staying with Neiman, and look at Victor Silva there in the background on the option tyre. He's made a fantastic start up from the, I think it was P17 he started, the Portuguese driver, and he's right there in the action, along with Tom Parker, though, who's got him, he's got Sven de Vries for company as well, so, and Tom Parker smashes Sven de Vries into the entrance of Portier 2, and Sven de Vries is going to be on the inside of Tom Parker, and this should be Sven de Vries' position. Oh! They made contact in the tunnel! And how on earth they managed to keep out of contact with each other is beggars belief. But Sven de Vries, it's clumsy, but he takes P10 from Tom Parker in P11. Pelkinen P12, Bart DeVos P13, Matt Richards P14, and Scuderia Vasilia currently occupies P15 and 16 with Oggiano, the leaders of that Vasilia party.
Yeah, I mean, you say about that as being a clumsy overtake. You can't do a nice clean overtake. Monaco, Sven de Vries gotten past Victor Silva. Wow, that was a move between Raskas and Anthony Node. So he's now well within the top 10 in P9. Got Ari Nieminen, the next car up the road. This has made a bit of a mistake through Sandovote, but it's okay. Up the hill they go through Beau Rivage. Current lead gap 2.5 seconds, 2.3 seconds.
It's coming down, isn't it?
Through where the second segment. Oh, now Jason Muscat's got a little bit of Christoph Lichtenstein spinning in front. I believe that probably cost Florian Geyer a bit of time as well. But yes, that there would require an from the entire broadcast team.
That's a synchronised R for Christoph Lichtenstein. After the highs of a point in race 1, come the lows of an early retirement for the German, our 2010 Super Cup champion. Nevertheless, the race must still go on without Christoph Lichtenstein, and currently you must say, oh my gosh, look at Pavel Loknovsky. Fran Lopez is all over the back of that Estonian and is looking many times faster on the inside of Raskas. Here goes Fran Lopez, and he dives up the inside. Is he going to hold on the inside of Antonios? No, he isn't. Pavel Loknovsky just about holds on, but my Delilah, Fran Lopez is getting a bit frisky.
Oh, what's going on down here, down P13 and all that? Yeah. Matt Richards, Victor Silva, and Bart DeVos going very close. Victor Silva now moved down into 13th position. That was a really messy area into La Rascasse, as it sometimes is when you pack racing. Matt Richards trying to get himself within the top 10. I did find out why he DNF'd the first race, because he went under blue flags. The game gave him a drive-through penalty, and he just called it quits. Obviously after having to pit the previous lap, or a few laps before, he just called it quits. However, currently running in P12, so it's a good race 2 so far for Matt Richards.
It's also proving to be a good comeback drive from Sven de Vries, who's already dispatched of Ari Neiman, and up into P7 is the American, and only 2 seconds up the road is Dowie Tapper. Where's Kevin Siggy gone? He's not had a good day, has he? He's down in P19.
Down 19th, yeah.
And Canton in the P24, can you believe it? Adrian McNaughton also out on lap 3 of 26.
Yeah, so I'm surprised that quite a lot of drivers didn't DNF, as Thomas Fadler then does what I just said and retires from the race. But yeah, I'm surprised a lot of people didn't DNF on that first lap incident, and I'm very proud of it, because it's always nice to see an entire grid just soldier on. as Fran Lopez and Pavel Loknovsky. Oh.
Now, see, the difference between Tapper's move and Lopez's move is Tapper was genuinely on the inside. He could shove his car up there. Lopez was trying to shove his gap. Well, he was trying to shove his nose cone into a gap which was just simply non-existent.
Yeah, but that's what Fran does. He's just one of the cars you don't want behind you, as Pavel Loknovsky is finding as he's trying to defend his podium position.
Pelkonen.
Yes, Pelkonen. What's happened here?
He spun down a Mirabeau, yeah.
Yeah.
Still in the points, though.
Yeah, it's a very spread out field, obviously, with the instance towards the first lap, as Brandon Warren is very close to the points. I believe he scored back in Australia, did the American.
Yes, he did. He
He
scored an 11th in Australia, race 2.
Yeah, I thought so. Quite a lot of unlikely candidates scored scored points in that race, as he has a slide.
Let's look away from him now.
Much, but yes, let's look away from him.
Oh,
Speaking
Lopez! Looking on the outside of Sandoval. And now looking on the outside of Beau Rivage. It's all the outsides. Whoa!
Oh!
That was a kiss of death from Fran Lopez, and they're still kissing wheels.
Wow.
And well,
side by side through Casino.
Loknovsky, wow, he's still going for it, isn't he? I thought Loknovsky was going to think that discretion was the better part of valor in that battle, but Lopez barges his way through into P3.
That was actually surprisingly nice and clean. There was a little bit of kissing of each other and barriers. Well, okay. They were going side by side, and they didn't end up in the wall. That is clean. That is also a cut, Fran.
That's a cut, yes.
Yes. But yes, to say they both didn't end up in the barrier, that is a clean overtake in Monaco.
Fine. Well, we said that De Vries was going to catch up to the back of Douwe Tapper sooner or later, and here is the man himself. Currently in P7, looking for P6, and Mike Bell in P5 is very close to this as well. And, well, Mike Bell had one Street Fighter behind him in race 1. He's now got the other behind him in race 2, and he's very soon going to have the championship leader up his chop as well.
Yeah, I don't know how well he's going to have to spend from Sven. Obviously, Douwe Tapper actually got past him in race 1 in Massenet, so he's got to watch out for that as well. But the two cars behind him, very quick. Will he be able to defend? Bear in mind, he is on the option tyres in comparison to their primes.
He is.
And he's made a mistake into the hairpin.
Oh, here goes Tapper on the inside. And Sven de Vries lighting up his rears, trying to get some traction on the inside of Tapper. Nothing doing though. And through the tunnel we go with these three. This is battle for P5, 6 and 7. Good points hauls here. And for Sven de Vries, every point he gains is crucial, because Kantonen is currently looking at a non-score round. As on the inside there, that is Thomas Jacobs, unfortunately, who's just not had the best of days here. Has a going through the swimming pool section now. There, you could throw a blanket over these three. And look at it, Sven de Vries is going to have a look on the inside of it. Raskas! And,
yeah.
Yeah, that was always going to be a closing gap, wasn't it? And Sven de Vries stays behind.
That there is the example of a not clean overtake, because it wasn't an overtake, nor was it clean. But no, it's the thing is with people like Tom Jacobs finishing outside the points, for everyone that finishes inside the points that's not supposed to be there, there's always going to be one that's outside of it. Douwe Tapper into the wall.
Tapper. That was Tapper's fault.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Sven de Vries, though.
He was out, wasn't he? It's getting a bit ratty, isn't it? And you can see Sven de Vries is...
Sven de Vries.
Oh, and he's through, is he?
Yeah.
Wow.
Did say it didn't take Sven very long.
No.
Took him all about 2 corners.
He was like a little puppy with a ball that was about to be thrown. You know, he's sort of shaking his nose from left to right, trying to look for any way possible to get the ball. And play ball he did, and he's taken Mike Bell very effectively there, and poor old Douwe Tapper's going to be thinking, how on earth did he do that?
Well, the thing is at Monaco, you know, as I've said before, the easiest way to get past someone is to basically force them into a mistake, and he made Mike look in his mirrors going into the hairpin, so Mike didn't brake at the right point, went a bit wide, and Sven just went straight through on the inside. That's exactly what you need to do. I don't think Mike will make that mistake again, but he is currently running in 6th position with a bit of a tap of the wall from Harry Tapper.
That was very close. Very close indeed. But mind you, lap 9 of 2060. Let's run down your top 15 so far. It's Florian Geyer leading from Jason Muscat, who is staying in the vicinity of the German, it must be said. And if Florian's tyre winner is as bad as to be believed, then Jason might have a chance later in the race to steal the race win. Then it's Lopez in 3rd, Loknowski 4th, De Vries in 5th with Bell in 6th, Tapper 7th, Parker 8th, Neiman in 9th, just ahead of Matt Richards in 10th. Then it's the 2 Waters Automotive cars of De Vos and Silva. De Silva under heavy pressure from the FA of Teemu Toika. PB Racing's Olli Pelkonen is all alone in P14. And Emmanuel Gagzella is out of the race. And Kevin Siggy has disposed of both Santiago Niza and Mikko Jakinen to get his positive back up into a point-paying position.
Indeed. But what's going to happen over the rest of the race? Now we have back on the back of Mikey Bell. And having a big slide out of the last part of the swimming pool section. That's a very easy thing to do, especially in these cars where, of course, there's no traction control or anti-lock brake systems within any of these cars. So it's not like in Formula Challenge, which makes that very easy to do, especially considering how torquey these cars are. The lead.
Bart was in the points.
Oh.
And what has happened to him? Is that a DC, I wonder?
So looks like it.
I think it's a DC. Yeah, I watched shame for Bart, the boss, who's looking like a double Waters points finish. But what that means, yeah, it was a DC. So that means that Mikko Jakinen then up into 15th, Siggy up into 14th, Pelkonen up into 13th, Teemu Toika up into 12th, and he's battling with Victor Silva. Victor Silva. That was worse than the Barrichello Schumacher incident in Hungary.
Silva just very quickly, Matt Richards and Harry Nieminen as well, P9 and P10, just switched positions at 48.
Matt Richards seems to have got that nailed down, doesn't he?
Yeah, I wonder if he has to pit though, because I know his tyre wear's been running pretty high as both the TSOs have this season, so he might have to pit.
Yeah. And as always, the Mazurek boys looking good as, let's have a look. How close is Sven to Loknowski? Only 3 seconds away. And it's only we're going on to lap 11 of 26. I reckon Sven might have a shout at 4th here, you know?
Oh, I think I think he might be able to get 4th as I think that's Yuri Oggiano, who's just come out of the pit lane. It is indeed Yuri Oggiano running in 21st position.
And Tapper and Bell! Look at Tapper and Bell! Wow, they made contact on the exit of Sandovo. So Tapper got into the slipstream, tried to take the outside move around Sandovo's, all nice and clean, and then, yeah, it just got a little bit wobbly on the exit, but I think no harm done really. And Tapper into P6 and Bell down to P7, and now he's got Tom Parker to worry about.
Oh, not for too long.
Mike Bell down to P8 then in the space of about 6 corners.
Yeah, he's got a long way back to Matt Richards, and just gonna say if those two close up, that'll be an interesting one to look at because there will probably be a crash.
Well, there's about 4 seconds worth of gap, isn't there? So
yes, but I believe Mike's highest finish this season is 9th, so he's currently running higher than that, which is good. And Matt Richards sitting in a. See, now I don't want to say it because I'll get it wrong, because it's definitely not a Mazurek sandwich.
It's a TSA sandwich with Mazurek bread.
It's okay. I didn't want to get my own point wrong.
Yes.
Because that would be really stupid.
That would be really embarrassing. So for those of you who don't know at home...
Oh, sorry, Pelkonen in the wall, lost the wheel. Swimming section down in P15 at the moment.
And that means that Santiago Niza is into the point.
That was a very scary crash there.
Yeah. And Pelkonen, he's been under a bit of fire for his driving standards in recent weeks. And thankfully no one involved in this incident, but he lost it on his own accord, unfortunately, and PB Racing's Pelkonen is out of the race. And that's interesting, actually. So we see Brandon Warren there, up into P16. Behind him is the Scari Cantonu. Oh my word, just clattered the outside of Raskas. That car looks a bit wobbly to me.
Indeed, that is scary. SCP-9 and P10, P8 and P9 even. Sorry, Matt Richards and Mike Bell very close. Wonder if there's going to be a move anytime soon.
Wow,
No.
Matt Richards caught up that quickly.
That quickly, yes.
That
is
no
a large
time at all.
gap. That was a large gap to close. That
was
kind
4
of-
seconds.
Yeah, in one lap.
Wow, Bell's going pretty slow then.
Yeah. So that, I wonder how long it's going to take for those two to switch positions, or for those two to DNF. But nevertheless, we shall keep an eye on that. It's 1.5 seconds is your lead, so it's come down a considerable margin over the previous 2 laps.
Yeah.
So
I think Muscat is marginally quicker at the moment.
yeah,
And it's halfway through this race as well. We're on lap 13 of 26.
feel Muscat might be able to win it. Wow, Matt Richards, that was one hell of a move. Around the outside of Massenet
wow.
and then through the inside of Casino. That was impressive.
That's nice.
That was very nice.
Right, okay, so we've just had news through from Sneaky Squirrel, as well as cameraman Lewis Redshaw, that apparently Florian Gaia, no stopping for absolutely sure. So that means that he will not have to pit, and I imagine Muscat will be doing the same. I imagine everyone else on the prime tyre will be doing the same. The ones we're worried about are those option compound runners, such as Richards and Bell. Also, just I've noticed Timu Toika has gotten into P11 ahead of Victor Silva. Victor Silva on the inside, and
Spin.
round she goes. And that is a secure P11.
Oh, here
Timu
comes Kevin
Toika now,
Siggy.
oh, well, yeah.
Oh,
Well-
just have nowhere to go there, did Siggy.
Either that or Victor Silva said, no thanks, my position.
Yeah. So, yeah, cheers. You want this one? Nope, not going to happen here.
I'm just thinking of the seagulls like mine.
Well, that's a reference.
It's a fine
as-
game, mate.
Yeah, as Kevin Siggy just had a little look on Victor Silva and didn't quite get past at Larascas. But Timu Toika, just speaking of Timu Toika, who's currently running 11th position, I would have thought of more, especially when you look at his pace pre-event. He must have really had a bad race one and ended up, I think, 2 laps down in that. However, working his way back up and running in that 11th position. Very good result so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look how nervy Lochnovsky is as well after such good free practice pace as well.
Indeed.
It's been a bit of a Williams 2014 for FA at Monaco, and I realise that these are 2 drivers who are not necessarily going to be in that seat full time. But it's a shame to see. It's almost like the positive sim racing hype in one round. We hope to see them fighting for the podium, and they're kind of a bit off it, unfortunately.
Yeah, Pavel's close, but isn't quite there yet, with Fran Lopez in front and Sven de Vries behind, closing him down. However, I've noticed that Sven hasn't really closed Pavel down hugely quickly.
No.
But nevertheless, still might do it before the end of the race. We've passed the halfway point. We have 12 laps to go. And can Jason Muscat closing that gap to Florian Guy? I don't think he can. Because of, it's gone back up again. It's just gone up to 2.2. And so we could be looking at Simcraft Racing and, surprisingly, their first win of the 2014 UltraNet Supercup Championship.
And indeed, our first now.
Indeed.
Our second first.
Second
event
first, yeah.
Where we have a different race winner. Brandon Warren.
Brandon Warren down in P17. Yep, he's made a mistake at possibly the worst place to do it, where you've got to do an entire lap with zero front downforce. I'm going to be fair with Brandon. I don't think, he's just tried. I don't think there was that much he could have done, because you brake into the turn, locking up, no steering, no nothing.
That was almost a complete carbon copy.
Also, Matt Richards has dropped back away some. I wonder if he's been in the pits or made a mistake, because he's dropped.
Well,
back.
I mean, he was on the option tyre, wasn't he?
He spun. Yeah, he spun coming out of Portier.
Oh, did he? Oh, right.
Yeah,
so he hasn't
spun
even
coming out of
pitted yet.
Portier. No, he clipped the wall with the left, right rear tyre even.
And bad news for Canton, and he's got a puncture as well. He's just been lapped by his teammate.
Yeah, and Muscat, speaking of him, closed up to 1.4 seconds to the back of that Simcraft machine. So really trying to power in the laps at the moment is Jason Muscat, going for his
third race win.
Third race win. There we go. Oh yeah, of course he got 2 in China.
Due to the penalties.
Due to the penalties, of course. So he's going for his third race win. How many race wins would that be for? That would be 7 race wins for that team.
Yeah.
That's a lot of wins in 12 races.
It's not over until the black Simcraft car crosses the line, or indeed crashes into the wall, as the case may be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've got to keep it slightly risque here at GPVWC, otherwise I lose my job. Anyway. Parker has spun in P7.
Oh, and he's lost his front wing. Here comes Mikey Bell.
Parker. Mike Bell takes P7. Matt Richards no doubt will take P9. Ari Niemann will... Sorry, Matt Richards will go up to P8. Ari Niemann P9, and that means that Mr. Timu Toika might be looking at a top 10 position, which would be lovely for him in F8.
Matt Richards into the pits. Ari Niemann spins out of Larascas.
Oh, wow, it's going to...
Timu Toika
What
moves
is
up 3
going
positions. On? Shout out.
Kevin Siggy into P10. It's a good day for him. He's up to P9 even. Oh,
wow.
Kevin. Victor Silva into the top 10.
Wow.
And Santiago Niza is working for him. He's up to P11.
Matt Richards leaving the pit lane. Mika Jarkinen jumps in, but he's currently at the end of the point. Same with Tom Parker. It'll be those two fighting their way up through whatever field is in front of them, both on the option tyres.
The gap has increased at the front. Oh no, it's just decreased, sorry. It's ever so slight now. They're toing and throwing Argyle and Muscat, and the gap has equalised at about 1 3/4 seconds.
Yeah, so it's looking like it's probably going to to and fro until the end of the race, but whether it twos or throws one way or the other too much could decide.
Oh, and hey, look, battle for
win
P4,
this
battle for P4, Sven de Vries on the inside the casino!
What?
Wow. Lot of respect from both of those drivers, and Sven de Vries moves up into P4.
Yeah. That was a scary incident.
Lochnowski clipping the back of de Vries as well.
Yeah. I saw Patrick Gatewood locking up in the background. He's not had a very good season, is Patrick Gatewood.
No.
Pavel Lochnowski down into 5th position, which, all things considered, is still a very good result from the 2-time Monaco winner.
Well, I mean, the one thing I remember from Pavel last year was that he was super consistent. He would just keep on banging out those top 6 results for you, week in, week out. And it's a shame that he's not in the championship full time, because he'd be a fantastic addition to this championship, no doubt.
Yeah, and he was one that did drive in Innovision.
He was, yes.
Yes. So yeah.
He did drive for FA as well, actually. Cheers on.
Did he?
He did. I think he was in Japan.
Wow. I don't remember that.
He came back for a couple of rounds, so I remember.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. I didn't even know I did commentary on the Istanbul broadcast 2 weeks ago.
That
so
baffles me still.
my memory of last year is terrible.
Ah, Lewis.
Hey, it's all in the name of a good broadcast.
Absolutely. And UltraNet and Spearhead Platoon sponsored broadcast, by the way. Go and check out those sites if you haven't. Spearhead Platoon, they deal with games, awesome games. Go check them out. UltraNet, they live near me, so that's worth checking them out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we do have
Victor
some movement.
Silva.
Victor Silva pits, and that was kind of semi-expected. He was on the option tyre, and I fear that Waters may be out the points. Yep, so Menno Klomp for Water GP, and Ascari Kantonen. It's a double retirement for the man who came into this event as a championship leader.
Yeah.
What a poor event it's been for the Finn.
Just really quickly as well, speaking of Finns, Tom Parker is right on the back of Mika Jäkinen. The P12
Oh, it's a
was a
DC
disconnection
for
for
Canton.
Canton. A bit of contact, I think, there between.
God, this is a big
Parker
battle as
and-
well, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
Yakin
yeah.
and Parker and Richards in there.
Indeed. Obviously, Parker and Richards both on fresh rubber after heading into the pit lane only a few laps ago. Yakin has been on his since the start of the race, different compounds as well. So Tom Parker should be able to get past soon. Whether he actually will, I don't know. Let's not try one into the back. That's probably the worst place on this track to try an overtaking move.
God, this should be huge points for Basilia as well.
Oh, there you go.
But there
Straight
goes
through into
Parker on the insult.
Mm.
Well, and there goes Jacobs in the background. That was,
Yeah.
That's what I like to call the school ground, I'm going to steal your lunch money tactic.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't think Richards would have been too happy coming up to the back of Yakinen, as Yakinen was one of the back markers, or the back marker that caused a Richards crash towards the middle part of that race, so he's not going to be too happy. Mike Bell.
Mike Bell's disconnected. That is another disconnection, and Mike Bell, who was running so well, has just gone from this race in what is the technical, like, the issues with the car which you cannot describe, equivalent in sim racing here. What a shame for the Englishman. Another DC to add to the list, so that means that Timu Toika is up to P7. Kevin Siggy, from where he was and where he was involved in that incident, up to P8. Great effort. Santiago Niza, P9. Nieminen, Bell's teammate, up into P10. He capitalises. Tom Parker, P11. Matt Richards, P12. Nico Yakinen back up into P13. Menno Klomp, P14. And that means that Victor Silva, even after pitting, might still score a point here for Waters Automotive.
Indeed, and they do require some points, but especially after pitting, to come out into some points is always a nice thing. To say, you know, I was saying before this race that we were going to have a lot of DNFs. We have had a lot of DNFs, not quite as many as race 1. However, a lot of them have been down to timeouts, so
Yeah.
that's interesting.
We're up to 9.
I found out why. It wasn't necessarily a disconnection from Mikey Bell. His game froze. His game just completely crashed on him. That is probably the worst time for that to happen. But as you say, you know, it's our equivalent of a technical issue with the car.
Just happens, doesn't it? Never know when it gets you. I mean, I remember back in Spain Formula Challenge, I couldn't partake in race 2 because my internet died. It's just one of those things which happens, and you can complain about it all you like. It's just one of those things which you have to get on and bounce back from, and I'm pretty sure that Mike Bell will take solace at least in running in such a high position and so successfully as well.
Yeah, obviously with the race 1 result for him, that's going to boost his confidence moving on to the next few rounds, and maybe even into the future series we've got coming up next week with the WSS returning, and of course before that the International Touring Cup at Adelaide. We can shout those out later on the broadcast. Sven is very close to the back of Sam Lopez, these two who were battling for the win in the previous race. Who is going to be taking the final step on the podium?
It's lap 22 of 26 here, so Sven has not got as many laps to do this as he did in race 1. However, I mean, Sven couldn't be putting on a better performance here. I mean, especially considering that one of his main rivals is in dire needs. Not only winning a race, but being on the podium twice in a row. And Fran Lopez locks up would be a fantastic achievement for the American.
Indeed. Indeed. So we've just been told that Tom Parker is at the fast lap of the race, very closely following Ari Nieminen, who's closed up to the back of rather quickly. Will he make his move and put himself into the top 10 if he can do it over this lap and the 4 following it? Ari Nieminen getting out of the way.
Oh, yeah. Into the Nouveau chicane we go, and that's easy pickings for Parker. And poor old Matt Richards got held up at a red light there, didn't he? Nieminen really had nowhere to go, and he's able to just about hold on. Though that mistake from Nieminen in not really letting Parker go as easy as he could means that Richards will be onto the back of him, no doubt. And can Richards take him around the outside of Raskas? Nieminen locks up, and he holds on just about there.
Indeed. Now, obviously, Richards having to pit this race. I think he's the only person on the grid that's actually had to pit Not for damage, as he's
Ooh,
poking his way
wow.
up the inside. That was aggressive. That was really aggressive.
Not only aggressive, he literally just barged him out the way. That was, well, I don't know. See it as you will. Nieminen down to P12. We'll let the stewards decide on that one if Nieminen wants to protest it. But, well, it's lap 24 of 26. The gap between Gaia and Muscat is 1.4. It's not gone below 1 second to this point in the race. And Gaia is doing a fantastic job of maintaining the gap behind him. Fran Lopez has actually responded really well to Sven de Vries's advances. I imagine Sven made a mistake somewhere because he's fallen off quite a bit. Pavel Loknowski still in close pursuit at P5, and Doughty Tapper's all on his own, bless him, in P6. Timo Toika at P7, Siggy P8, Santiago Niza P9 with Parker 10th, Richards 11th, Neiman 12th, Clont in 13th after spinning it into turn 1. Silver P14 and Patrick Gatewood in the points. So poor old Mikko Jakinen. Oh, Jakinen! Oh, what's happened to him? Oh, Mikko. And he's going to try and keep going, but he was in the points. He just lost it, didn't he?
Just went over the bump, lost it. That massive bump he was in
He
earlier.
fell out of the points before that, though. Did he pit?
I think he might have done, I don't know, but whatever, that's a complete race ruined. Oh, he's got a rear puncture
Just
as
retire.
well. Where are... Yeah.
There's no point. Just retire.
Yeah, there we go. It's,
So
it's
that's
just the way to go,
our-
unfortunately.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, let's count, James. Quick math, James. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's our 10th retirement of the day.
Yeah.
In half as many laps.
Here we go, everyone. You tune into the Supercup broadcast to hear counting. Wow.
That's two stupid things you said in the same broadcast.
Yeah?
Yeah. Counting! But, hey, I said that up until that point, the gap hadn't been below a second. It has now 0.8 of a second. It's the gap between Gaia and Muscat. Though, at the end of this lap, there will be only one more to do it. And I think the Muscat, if he is planning a charge now, has potentially left it a bit late, to be honest. In fact, the gap back up to 1 second now.
Yeah, I see. They seem to have. The thing is they seem to have like you look at every track where a driver has a good sector 1, another driver has a good sector 2, another driver has a good sector 3. It seems like they have it on each stack, but it changes sectors dependent on who can be bothered to do a faster time in which. Like, it's really weird. We saw this back in China, where Muscat would have an awesome sector 3. Sven de Vries, however, would have an awesome sector 2, whereas here it's just kind of like, well, they're just kind of picking whichever sector whenever. Jason Muscat closes that back up to just about 3/4 of a second.
Well, you know what? It would have been considered.
That was a position change. Sven de Vries and Fran Lopez had a quick position change and a flick back. Sven de Vries, whoa, that was wow.
Good catch.
That was aggression on aggression right there for Sven de Vries to put himself into that podium position.
Jeez. But he's there nonetheless, isn't he? And just about. But look up at the front here. 7/10 the gap between Gaia and Muscat. And you know what? You would have been mad at the beginning of the year to say that Simcraft wouldn't have had a race win until Monaco. Well, they haven't. In fact, they've had a terrible start to the season in comparison to what we were expecting. But here today in Monaco, they've been on the rise. He's been in hot form. And Florian Gaia takes Simcraft's first race win of the season. The German elated with that result. Jason Muscat comes home P2. Sven de Vries, he is just going to keep ahead of Fran Lopez to take a double podium. He's our definite championship leader now after penalties in China. Fran Lopez, what a great result for him again. P4, really showing what he could do, and that might cause him a penalty by stupid post-race conduct. Pavel Loknowski, P5, solid. It's what he does best. Douwe Tapper, P6, that's pretty good, eh? Solid point scoring from the Dutchman. Good to see him there. Timo Toika, home in P7, that's good, isn't it? With Kevin Siggy coming home in P8, Tom Parker in P9, Matt Richards P10, Santiago Niza coming home in P11, with Menno Klont in P12, Ari Neiman in P13, Victor Silva in P14, and Patrick Gatewood scoring a point. And unfortunately, he doesn't get many of those, so we'll be happy with that.
Yeah, I remember Patrick Gatewood scored. I think he scored quite a lot of points last season, or a decent amount of points last season. He's just struggled this year so far. It was good to see him within the point-paying positions, especially on a track such as Monaco. But yes, right, that's the second time. However, the first time that we've got it on record at the moment, I will add, that we've had two different winners in the same evening of the 2014 UltraNet Supercup.
Which is good at last, and hopefully we won't have I don't think we'll have penalties mess up these results. This is definite. The trend has absolutely, definitely, without doubt, been broken now.
Unless Florian doesn't submit RF scan.
Oh
no,
no.
actually...
What?
Nothing. Well, actually, hang on. So to be honest, for that to actually change, it would be Florian and Jason have to both not submit RF scan. But something to add about this RF scan: every single person submitted it last round, so it's okay. I'm pretty confident in these people now. We've got it sorted.
Someone has to inform me on what someone said. I completely missed it.
Never mind, Jay.
I feel out of the picture now. It's worrying me.
Wasn't much of a picture.
There's never much of a picture. It's alright, I picked up on it, but still. It was a good couple of races once again.
It was great.
Indeed.
And definitely much more successful. We had all the points available picked up this time.
Yay.
Massive improvement. 195. Oh, really? Wow, okay. Interesting. So, Sven de Vries leads on 198. Jason Muscat second on 195. Canton third on 181. Pushka still fourth, amazingly, on 133. Then it's Parker on 114. Gaia on 104. Klont on 102. And Tapper on 70.
Interesting.
Oh no, sorry. Gazella on 72, then Tapper on 70.
Yeah.
So that is your lot. Time for the interviews, and what interesting interviews they should be indeed. Right. Florian Gaia. Coming into this event, I said that you were the driver on form. Then turn one of race one happened. You had a fantastic comeback drive to secure the reverse group pole position. And finally, Simcraft have won a race. You are well and truly into the battle for the midfield position behind the front four. You must be relieved with that.
Yeah, first of all, qualifying was quite well. I think P3 quite a few tenths off my personal best, but still a good position for race one. The start was okay. I was alongside Sven up to turn one, and my brakes just locked, and I had nowhere to go. Just went straight into the wall, and yeah, race one was basically over. I was pretty frustrated myself, but yeah, still P9 at the end was really good. Which gave me the reverse grid pole then for race two, where I had I think my first really good start this year. And I just saw in the mirrors that behind was a big pile up, and I was glad I wasn't involved. I just tried to create a gap so I can control this race. But Jason was right behind. He was I think the same pace as me. The gaps went up and down just by a few tenths each lap. But in the end, I won my first race here in the league, which I'm really happy about. I hope there's lots more to come. But right now, we're gonna enjoy the first win for Simcraft. I hope to be doing like this for the next few races.
I mean, it's definitely been a rise in form, hasn't it? Culminating in this win. We head to Canada next, a completely different track to Monaco, and we must be honest. You avoided that incident in race 2, and that was largely because you were on pole position. There's no doubting that. Heading to Canada, are you confident that you have the pace to keep up with those front guys to score more race wins, or is the aim for Simcraft to keep on plugging away at those points? Because from what I'm seeing, at least, Simcraft could very well nail P2 this year in the championship.
I think I had the pace in race 1 to win, but it's all ifs and buts. But I think I aim for the win again in Canada, as me and Tom have great pace. And Canada is more a normal track compared to Monaco, which is very unique. So, our aim is to win. That's what we're here for.
A nice, solid aim indeed. Thank you very much for joining us, Florian, and well done on your first race win of the season. And
Thank you
very much for joining us. Good night. And finally, joined by Jason Muscat. Now, for you, it was actually a pretty good evening. You're into P2 in the championship. You jump your teammate, but the fact of the matter is that your teammate couldn't have bombed this evening anymore. A retirement in race 1, losing it from the lead, a disconnection in race 2, which was in some ways unavoidable. I guess you have to be thankful that you have such a big team's championship lead, because with 200 points to spare, I guess Canton and having an off round meant that you're very much safe in that area.
Yes. I'm just happy that I got a good result in both races. I just wanted to be safe. Even in the last race, I think I had the pace to catch Florian earlier in the race, but I didn't want to risk. So, good results, and hope we get better results in Montreal.
I'm interested in the dynamic between yourself and Ascari. I'm sure that you've had many people asking you this as well. But in terms of championship position, if you see Ascari ahead of you, or if you see Ascari fall behind you, and in this case, if you see Ascari not score in either race, how does that make you feel? Do you feel sad for the team? Do you feel sort of happy as you're going ahead? What's the whole dynamic? Is your aim at the end of the year to beat Ascari, or is it more team orientated?
I don't have any aim to beat Ascari, or just have fun and try to stay in the top 3 in the championship. That's all.
That's the nice man's reply, isn't it? That's brilliant. Well done on your results anyway, Jason. Into P2 you go, and we'll see you next time at Canada, hopefully.
Thank you.
And finally, Mr. Sven de Vries. You have taken back the championship lead by 3 points. Double podium with a race win in race 1. Pretty good evening's work, especially given that Ascari got no points from today.
Yeah, not bad at all, I guess. I definitely had to work pretty hard for it, though, especially with Fran. I didn't met him on track before, but man, he's quick and he knows how to defend. So even though I was a bit quicker, I just couldn't get past him, and I really had to work my way, past him when there was no.
Yeah, both race 1 and race 2, there's just fantastic battle between you two. But actually, an interesting point that myself and Lewis were thinking about is you coming up to Mike Bell and Dawe Tapper. So Mike Bell's known for his defensive quality, and yet you were able to get past him in the matter of maybe 2 corners or something. Was that a mistake on Mike's part, or did you just see something which nobody else can see? Do you have Mike Bell nailed? Because we're worried about Bell trains of the future.
Well, I guess, I don't know, I was just having a really good flow, and I remember before the start I was talking to Ruud, and we noticed that Mike was on the soft tires, so Ruud told me, make sure Mike doesn't get past you. So I got in the wreck at the beginning, and fell back to like P14, P15, something like that. And eventually I got behind Mike, and I figured my race was going to end there. I was going to be stuck behind it for a while, but luckily for me, Dawa made a small mistake, so I could dive on the inside, take him, and then next turn I had seen that Mike was braking a bit earlier the entire race. I figured that was my opportunity, and I had to take it as soon as I could.
Final question. Heading into Canada, what are your thoughts? You know, do you think that that's going to be a track which suits you any better than Monaco? Because I know Monaco's not exactly your most favoured track. Is Canada more your style? You know, not many turns, all about the long straights.
Well, long straights are usually not my in my advantage, as you may have noticed. I usually drive with higher rear wing, so Canada will definitely not be in my advantage. But we'll see where it goes. It's definitely close between Oscari, Jason, myself, and I don't know what Pushka's gonna do, and I'm curious to see where Fran Lopez will be at again next race.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for joining us, Sven. Congrats on your win. And, well, Monaco didn't disappoint again. Pavel Loknovsky didn't take the third win that he so desired, but for a night's evening of entertainment... For night's evening? What am I talking about? For an evening of entertainment, Lewis, that was pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah, no, it was obviously... I think we come into these UltraNet Supercup broadcasts and not expecting to be bored, because it always seems to deliver something interesting. The 5 tracks has been to previous to this, and now the 6th in a row, and we move on in 2 weeks' time into Montreal. But before that, of course, we have Super League tomorrow. That'll be definitely one to watch, and then on Monday we've got the International Touring Cup returning in Adelaide. That'll be very interesting. And then, of course, on the Wednesday is the WSS, which will be the first cars in the flat sixes to take to Montreal at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. So, lots to come over GPVWC, and hopefully we will be seeing some more interesting racing as we go on.
Well, all it leaves me to do is to thank our special sponsors for this Monaco event, Spearhead Platoon. Please go and check out their website. Great people making a great game. Thank you so much to those guys for sponsoring the Monaco round of the Super Cup. It leaves me to thank Lewis McGlade, my co-commentator as always, to thank our cameraman and Sneaky Squirrel for this evening, Lewis Redshaw. My name's been James Kirk, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye for now.